Planning Board for August 27th, 2026. We have a full quorum, we have a full board tonight. I'll introduce the members. We have, on my far left, we have Crystal Tenney. Next is Mark Cartier, alternate. I'm Wayne Boardman, board chair. David Woods, board vice chair. Gail Billett, board secretary, and Steve Friedman. And at the table, we have Dylan Smith, who is director of planning. And also tonight, we have Dean Lessard, who is the town engineer. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes. Also remotely is Patience Horton, our recording secretary. And we'll get going. Appears to be no field changes, so we'll move right into the public forum. Public forum is part of the meeting where the public is welcome to ask questions or give feedback on anything other than what's on the agenda tonight. So we have two applications before us tonight, which is Tropic Star Development, 834 US Route 1, and Bagel Basket Multi-Use Site Redevelopment on 286 York Street. So, is there anyone who would like to speak on the public forum for questions or comments not addressing tonight's applications? Yes, please come to the microphone and give your name, if you would, please. Spell your last name, please.
Hi, I'm Nancy Chico, C-I-C-C-O. I live at 7 Indian Creek, unit number 11, and I just want to share my concerns about the current proposal for the Bagel Basket redevelopment. I think the mass and the height of the building.
Excuse me, that will be on, that is on the agenda, so we will
Okay.
get to the public hearing.
Oh,
on
sorry.
that. No problem.
All right. I'll come down.
Anybody else? Public forum, comments? Seeing none, without objection, I'll close the public forum. No objection, so ordered. Then we'll move on to the application reviews. First of all, we have Tropic Star Development, 834 US Route 1, final site plan. That's map and lot 94-19, owned by Iduna Realty LLC. And first of all, Dylan, would you please set this up for us, what we're doing tonight?
Sure, thank you. So the board granted preliminary approval of this application in October of 2025. Since then, the applicant has been looking at various DOT requirements with permitting and traffic impact, as well as municipal requirements as it relates to that, and have been going back and forth with them. I believe at the last meeting of this application, the board reviewed the application but did not accept it for final review. So that kind of needs to be addressed tonight. At this point, based on the review documents, there are some minor things that are missing based on 6.4 final plan application review, but I don't think they're enough to not accept the application as complete to allow the process to begin. So at this point, I think without further ado, we can go through these review the review memo by Longmeadow, if the board wishes to discuss whether or not that qualifies as a complete application. I think it's pretty substantial, and or let the applicant do a introduction themselves.
Okay, let's start with that, if we would, with the applicant. You can come to the table there, whoever's representing the applicant. And just a quick review of your responses, specifically with respect to the completeness part of the review, and then we'll get more into the depth of it later. But first, before we can either discuss the merits of it or to have a public hearing, we just need to get through the completeness review, if that is complete. So And go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Nicole Duquette with McClure Engineering Company. Also here with me.
Sorry, yeah.
Let's turn it on first. Step one. Nicole Duquette, McClure Engineering Company. Here with me is Jim Mitchell from Tropic Star Development, Scott Thornton from Vanessa and Associates, and, sorry, hiding behind there is Chris Temula from GPI.
And would you spell your last name for the recording secretary?
My last name is Duquette.
Thank you.
I do have the presentation plan, and I can put it on the screen, or we can just go through the memo, whichever is easiest for you to follow.
At this point, we're probably be looking for new information or responses.
Okay,
But again, maybe we should get through the completeness review first.
All
And
right.
then we can open a public hearing. Anything in particular you want to comment on regarding the completeness? That
yeah,
was-
so there is a couple of clarifications under the Long Meadow peer review letter. It looks like comment number 1 under review summary highlights, it says that we're not seeking a waiver under number 1, and there is a waiver that is requested under item number 1, which is the utilities within the front yard setback. That is a waiver that has been submitted in the April 20, it's either 20th or 21st
and that's,
waiver request letter.
6.3.3.
6.3.9.1.
Okay.
I think that was, I do have a copy of the waiver hold on. Yeah, 6.3.9.1. There is a waiver to allow the utilities. And that is in the waiver request letter that was submitted in May with the original final application.
Do you have the August 24th peer review letter?
That's what I'm
Okay.
reading off
And under
of.
completeness review on page 3, 4,
Wait, going on to completeness review.
the waiver request have,
Item-
number 1, yeah, that one has been submitted.
Item 1's done, 2, 3. Item number 4, we did have a email that was submitted to both York Water, it was between York Water Department, us, and I believe Dylan and Brendan from the town saying that we were approved. And I have that email saying that from Brendan saying that it was sufficient for approval from the York Water Department. So that was on July 6, 2026, that we got approval from them.
Okay, then the next one, number 5.
So number 5, this was submitted to the department reviews, the department. I know that we have a tracking number because we overnighted them just to make sure that we had tracking for all the departments. And I believe they were received, somebody signed off on them July 2nd and July 6th.
Okay, so those have been submitted.
Yes.
Number 6 is a minor thing, the
Yeah, it's just adding more
signature
lines.
block.
Yeah. I believe.
Performance guarantee was, and findings of fact and financial capacity were all submitted.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's it on the completeness
So
review.
that's it on the completeness. Well, what's the board think? Is this ready to be accepted as complete, or is there any other questions that we should follow up on?
6.3.3, it was the utility easement? Or was that on carryover from the review portion?
6.3.9.1 is the zoning ordinance, so I don't think it's pertinent for
For completion?
the board acting on that waiver yet.
Okay.
So with that clarification, it seems relatively complete. Can you confirm those emails for the water district?
I can't confirm nor deny, I don't know. I think for the purpose of review, you'd want to see them. I don't see a problem in moving ahead, but you'd still want to see them. Should the board get to a point of final approval, I think you'd want to just make sure that that is part of the package at that point. Does that make sense?
Makes sense? Anybody with-
No, that makes sense. I actually had the same concern that David just brought up. And I just want to confirm with the escrow contingency funds that the amount is the correct percentage that's been set aside. My concern is that there's a lot of ledge on that property, so I just want to make sure that what is estimated for the construction is going to be more on the accurate side. It's kind of like over, yes. I thought you had a question, sorry.
I do, just after your question, I think I might be
Yeah,
able to
I
provide
s-
some insight onto it.
Perfect. No, you're good. Only because I think I saw like a 200K amount that was set aside. I know that's a percentage, but I just want to make sure that's enough.
May I?
Is that okay? Sorry.
Jim Mitchell from Traffic Star Development. I was just going to say that I have an actual main drilling and blasting quote that has, I believe it's 237,000.
Okay.
So we'll use that number unless there's something different that you'd like to see.
I think that might be sufficient. Yes. Thank you.
So that was their bid for the project, was 237? And then you've got another 200 on top of that? Is that what you're saying?
I can give you the exact figure. I just know that the main drilling and blasting was in excess of 200. My number off the top of my head is 237.
Yeah,
but I can
that's-
pull it up later.
Yeah,
In the
cost just-
documents, you have 370K
Yeah.
or something around there. But then escrow and contingency is only 200K. So I think I just want to make sure that contingency is enough because of the ledge alone is probably going to be a lot, but then anything else that kind of comes up in the meantime as well.
Dylan?
Dylan?
I think you're kind of talking about a performance guarantee, correct? Not a financial capacity letter, which is
Correct,
different.
yes, thank you.
I think at this point, the board, just for everyone's knowledge, once we get to the point where the final design is ready and the board is content or happy with where things stand, that we'll make sure that we get our outsourced engineers to review the performance guarantee to make sure that the amounts meet the intent and the regulations at that time. So I think it's kind of preliminary data at this point until such time as the final design has been, approved, basically. So we'll make sure that our reviewing engineers and the board feels happy about that or content.
Okay.
And then I had another question about, I know the dumpster, was it the dumpster location? Trying to go through my memory. And, but we moved that, but I think that's been satisfied. I feel like I had a third question, but it's not coming to my brain. But otherwise, this did look,
Yeah, I think
Pretty complete.
that's, it'll be in further review.
Yeah.
For sure,
Would you like a motion?
please.
I move to accept the application complete for final review for retail motor fuel outlet, Tropic Star Development, 834 US Route 1, tax map 94, lot 19.
Second.
Okay, we'll go. Yes, Dylan?
With the exception that those items that were spelled out be submitted as prior to any decision on final approval.
I will amend my motion to include that the remaining items still to be complete prior to final approval.
Second.
Okay, second to that. So moved by David, seconded by Gail. Any other discussion? Okay, call for a vote. Crystal?
yes.
David?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, 5-0. Okay, I think would probably be that it's time to open up the public hearing. Seeing as we have a few people in the room and we have a couple of fairly complicated applications for us, we do have to move this along in order to not, fail to complete our job. So we're going to ask each of the people who wish to speak at the public hearing to limit their comments to 3 minutes, please. You can always submit additional written comments at any time directly to the planning board, to the town planner, who will make sure that it gets distributed to us. The other thing is that before we begin public comment, I'd also like to remind everyone to make sure that, so that each speaker is heard respectfully and without distraction, we ask the audience to refrain from applause or cheering or other reactions during or immediately after each person's remarks. We appreciate your cooperation in keeping this hearing orderly and focused. So, again, I see a hand in the front row there.
Can I make a motion to open the public
Oh,
hearing?
sorry, we jumped that one.
No problem.
No, you can say.
I move to open the public hearing for retail motor fuel outlet Tropic Star Development, 834 US Route 1, tax map 94, lot 19.
Second.
Great, moved by David, second by Gail. Any other comment? Crystal?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
And Steve?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, 5-0. Thank you for reminding me. And again, your name and spell the last name for the recording secretary.
My name is Alan Gittleson. I'm going to spell my first name also A-L-A-N, and it's Gitelson. I live at 2 Old Post Road in York. This is the third hearing of the 3 hearings that you've had that I've been for. So any one of you want to check and see what I've said? I don't want to do extended comments again. You've heard this before. You don't have to hear some of the things that I've said in the past, and we just suggest if you want to go back to the record. There's also a deja vu to this for me, and I'm simply quoting Yogi Berra, the member of that hated team, the Yankees. I grew up as a Brooklyn Dodger fan, so it's intense here. Deja vu all over again. We're back to the same basic fundamental issues. I have 2 comments simply that I want to make. One is simply that this is a residential area. I know it's on one, and it doesn't appear to be, but there are no commercial entities in that area with the exception of YCSA, which is a non-for-profit company. There are any one of a number of citizens living in this area that are going to be affected by this. It's an area that's the corner of 1 and York and Old Post Road is known informally really as Motorcycle Alley. It's also fulfills many of the sound problems that we have in the neighborhood. In addition to that, it's highly trafficked. Individuals coming from the downtown area, from the beach area, and from Kittery and York, and also Algonquin, travel that area. It simply doesn't need an additional commercial event here. I appreciate the positions that many of the experts here represent. They don't live there. The Department of Transportation folks don't live there. And in fact, a lot of people don't live there who might want this. And I'm simply saying, I would ask you simply to consider that as a point of reference, not just whether a dumpster is in a particular area or whether they're going to be knocking down rocks, the cliff area there, or whatever they're going to do it. I'd simply suggest you include your own feelings if you were living in that particular area. But what bothers me the most about this is not that Irving doesn't, and the developer for that property doesn't have a right to make money and continue to foster their own individual endeavors. But they have a gas station and a convenience center a little over 1.5 miles down the road in the Hannaford area. Why do we need 2 Irving convenience stores in such proximity to each other? Other than obviously the wish on the part of the developer and Irving to make money. Can't blame them for that. Exactly, but I can blame them for intruding on a area that is residential, basically, and we don't need it. It will heighten the traffic problems. The DOT, as I said, can say whatever it wants and whatever. Let me simply say in that context, really, that I would strongly urge you to vote against this particular plan. We don't need it. We don't want it, the people in the area. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir?
My name is Don Richards, Richards, and I live at 801 US Route 1, which is just a little south of the site which we're talking about here. I'm just not sure. I went through pros and cons, and it just doesn't make sense. There's no win-win for Irving and for the town of York. Tourists will go crazy with the intersection. The near homes, the values are probably going to drop. The community, it doesn't benefit the community at all. That doesn't really benefit York. Does it benefit the county? I don't see that. There's going to be more accidents. And like I say, traffic will probably be twofold. I just don't understand, and I wish you would consider it's not a win-win. The only one that wins is Irving, because they're going to get some taxes. The York may get some additional tax from the business, but it'll be nothing compared to what Irving's going to get out of this. And I believe York is not going to get anything out of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am?
No worries, take your time.
Been there.
Time.
My name is Joan Mullahy, Mullahy. I live at 744 Route 1. I've owned the property 15 years, and for 15 years, the traffic situation has been a problem. Trying to merge on to Route 1, or to get off of Route 1 to go to my property is a white knuckle experience because of the speeding. And I think if you put this project there, it's going to make matters worse, because people, like somebody had suggested, maybe 2 lanes. We'll never be able to get out of our street to get onto Route 1. And when I'm trying to get off, I'm always afraid I'm going to be rear-ended because they're flying. The traffic is flying. I went to the police station last week, and I asked for the data on the number of accidents from Stonewall Kitchen to Old Post Road, because every week I hear screeching brakes, crash, boom, sirens. Right at, I don't know how many yards from our street, there's a cross, so somebody has died there. I think this would be even cost York, the town of York, even more money, because there, you know how many fire trucks and ambulances and police cruisers show up for these accidents? I mean, it doesn't make sense to me when you have all that empty space as you're going down Route 1 to, like, even before you get to Short Sands, the new road, there's plenty of open space there. I just can't wrap my, and then if you start with the, bombing the, I can't think of the word, the shale, what's going to happen to all our, our septic systems and wells and all of that? Who's going to be responsible for the damage to that? So it just doesn't make sense to me. And the other thing that dawned on me, because I go by there a million times every day because I live so close, and I'm like, well, you know what? Ever since I bought my property 15 years ago, that's been an abandoned site. And I know it used to be a doctor's office or this or that, but you have to ask yourself, why has nobody else wanted to, do anything there? Because it's a bad spot. And I can't stress enough. The other thing is, how come
Time's up.
we...
Could you wrap it up?
Yeah, I just want to say, why didn't we get notice about this meeting? Like, I got a notice from the town when they wanted me to pay $15,000 towards the sewer that I won't even benefit from, but nobody told any of us. I found out by a sign on the road. So, I mean, that is not right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go on, Dylan, what's the notification procedures for
200 feet from the property lines.
200 feet from the property line?
Correct.
So those notices did go out?
Correct.
For this meeting?
Correct.
Okay.
Sir, could you please speak up or into the mic? Some of us have
Thank you.
hearing aids and we can't.
Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate that. Yes. So, again, the regulations for notification is 200 feet from the property, basically abutters. And so I just wanted to clarify that. Yes, ma'am, somebody else? And I'll give you opportunity later to respond to anything that you think is factually important.
Hi, my name is Ellen Peterson. I live in New York on Surf Ave. I use that intersection all the time.
Could you spell your name, please?
Oh,
Sorry.
Peterson. My first name is Ellen, Ellen. I have a family member that lives on Route 1, so I'm often in that intersection. And these are my concerns from my personal history. I lived in a small town in Massachusetts where we only had septic and wells, which is that area north of that intersection and a little bit south only has septic and wells. So we had a gas station in this town, one gas station, and the gas tank developed a leak, and houses that had wells were polluted based on that. I don't know what kind of guarantees you can have. These people here that live in that area do not have the option to be on our town water and our town sewer without great expense to themselves. So I'd want to have protections for my family members to know that whatever was happening with this construction was not going to negatively impact them. And if it did impact them, because there might be an earthquake or something else, then we know we've had earthquakes. So what's the repercussions going to be? Do we have to spend years suing the builders? Do we, as a town, try to raise our rates, our tax rates again to cover the people whose wells are polluted? It's something that I personally experienced that makes me nervous. The other thing is, if you're going to be doing blasting, what kind of impact is that going to have on the people that live in this area? I mean, are the walls going to start to track? How are we going to protect the people that live here and that value this property and that they've put their life savings into? I think we really need to consider the impact of that kind of construction on the people that live nearby, because this is our town and we love our people. We want to protect them and keep them safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am? I'll get you next, okay?
My name is Pamela Tobey, Tobey. I moved to York Woods last September. If I had known that an Irving Station/convenience store was going to be built so close to our condos, I wouldn't have bought it. Route 1 is dangerous enough without adding an additional disaster factor. We don't need another gas station so close to the other ones here, and we don't want you. Would you want a gas station coming to pollute your neighborhood and to lower your property values? I don't think so, but neither do we. You are not welcome here.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you for your patience.
Hi, my name is Ben Morong, M-O-R-O-N-G. Live at 859 Route 1. I'm a newcomer, only been there 43 years. I don't remember Route 1 being one lane in each direction. I don't know when they built it, whether they made it 2 lanes in each direction or whether they had subsequently expanded it. But they made it 2 lanes in each direction for a reason, because there was traffic. And whenever they did that, they were looking at the future and anticipating that traffic was going to increase, and it has, and it isn't going to decrease. Having 1 lane in each direction at that stretch of road is going to be a total disaster, with cars stopped, stretching probably all the way back to Stonewall Kitchen and up to Cape Nettic. That'll solve the problem of accidents at Anthony's because cars will be going so slowly. But it doesn't make sense to take a 4-lane highway and make it into a 2-lane highway, unless you think that traffic is going to be decreasing over the next few years. I don't personally like the idea of having a gas station at that intersection, but I could get over it if the plan had come up with a 5 lanes with 2 lanes in each direction and then the turn lane in the middle. That would have made sense to me. It wouldn't have been, an ideal situation, but it would have probably been adequate. But it doesn't make sense to go from 2 lanes to 1 in each direction. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name is Darrell Marley, M-A-R-L-E-Y. I live at 801 Route 1, also known as York Woods. There are 43 condos at York Woods, so there's a lot of cars pulling out onto Route 1. If you are turning left to go south on Route 1, you have to cross 2 northbound lanes, and you have to fit into the leftmost of the 2 southbound lanes. If there is 1 lane coming out of that traffic light, many of those drivers are going to be anxious to get into that left-hand lane. There is not a lot of time between pulling out from 801 Route 1 and getting into that open lane that you can see to be open. That openness, what you can see as an open lane, that will not be visible anymore. It will look like an available lane because you'll only see 1 lane of cars. And once out into the road, there will be cars shifting into that passing lane heading south. Those are going to be rear-end collisions. People are going to get hurt, especially on Sundays when people are trying to get out of town fast to get home. I can't believe any traffic engineer worth his salt that had tried to drive out of that driveway onto Route 1 at a at a time of day when there are cars, would have any conclusion other than, oh, this is not a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gentleman in the back there, I'll get you next. Thank you all for attempting to be concise with your comments. It's much appreciated.
My name is Sean Gorham, Gorham. Live at 801 US Route 1. I want to address things you probably never thought of before and some that you have. One, you probably realize that there's a lot of opposition to this project. I'm looking at it from a couple different standpoints. One is our property. If we already have a lot of issues with traffic, and we would like to see, if this is going to go through, we would like to see a promise from Irving that we are given a living buffer between Route 1 and our condos. There are 46 units there, and we want to we're trying to build that now. Putting that there is going to be light pollution as well as auto pollution. That intersection where we already going out the north slope, which is closest to their property, it's already at an 8% angle. So we're already sitting down like this, trying to get out onto Route 1. Whatever work the city or the state decides to do, that's going to put us down even lower. As it is, in the past 2 weeks, we've had 6 accidents in that area, 1 at the intersection and 2 right at York Woods. My niece was in one of them. We've also in the past, because of that curve that's by our sign, we've had a number of vehicles that have landed, that have actually flown off that road and landed by our mailboxes, landed in driveways, and we had one incident where the car came off and hit 3 cars that were parked in our parking lot. That brings up the word adequate, which is what I understand the city or the highway committee came back as adequate. I don't know about you, but I don't like adequate. I mean, how many of us would describe our spouse as adequate? The house we live in as adequate. My car, I will admit, is adequate. It's transportation back and forth. It's not fancy as a Toyota, but that's adequate and no one's driving on it. Comment was made by the Irving people that they can't control deliveries. Well, they sure in hell can control deliveries. A lot of corporations do it. A lot of these deliveries are going to be Irving gas trucks. If they can't control that, there's a real problem there. But you see controlled deliveries constantly in all businesses. So we did adequate accidents.
20 seconds.
What?
20 seconds.
Okay, I'd be concerned about the monopoly that a foreign entity is making in the state of Maine. The state of Maine has already taken Irving to court several times and interrupted a few of the purchases that they've tried to make. They've also been caught clear cutting when they shouldn't have been clear cutting, no boundaries, and they've also been caught being too nice to legislators and giving them rides in corporate aircraft and that sort of thing. And they're working to change our mineral laws so they can do mining. I don't want to add to that financial burden that the state's going to have.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All right. My name is Nicholas Pouliot. I live at 801 US 1, Pouliot. Like many of you here, we're probably York Woods residents. Every day I drive my 15-month-old daughter on that. I take Old Post Road home from our nightly walk at Fisherman's Walk. And I'm constantly looking in the rear view as I wait 4 or 5 minutes to take a left into my building. And I'm just waiting for that day. And I don't see how this gas station benefits any York residents. It might benefit the people that are leaving town, coming from Ogunquit Beach or Long Sands and leaving, right? Well, we have a gas station that's a family-owned business, Anthony's. So people go there, right? And that's its own traffic problem. So that's another thing. But right now, I don't see how $4 roller dogs and $4 a gallon of gas helps York residents over the concerns of what we have. If they're gonna do blasting, who's ensuring that our foundations are gonna be 100%? When was the traffic study performed? Was it performed in off-season? Was it performed in August, right? Was it performed 4th of July weekend? So we can say, oh yeah, maybe that traffic plan was adequate in the spring, but we all know that, what does York get? Hundreds of thousands of visitors in the summertime. So I just don't really see how this benefits the residents of York. It's people going to be leaving York. All of us, we go get our groceries and we get our gas already at their One Irving, or we get it at the Citgo on the way home, or we get it in Portsmouth when we do our grocery shopping. Like this doesn't help us as residents. It doesn't make the road safer. It doesn't help us. We have enough gas stations. Yes, there can be something done with that property, but I don't think this is the right idea. I don't know how this makes our lives better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're back there.
I'm Leanne Owens, Owens. This is a little bit of deja vu here. I come from New York, just like where you guys probably come from, and I've been through this. I moved to Maine because we wanted to live here our whole lives. It's a beautiful town, and corporate America wants to destroy it by putting a gas station 1.5 miles from another gas station. I've seen this many a times in New York. Corporates come in, they got the money, they got the cash, they put it down, and it's done. And they go before the boards, and they push, and they make it happen. And I don't know what you paid for that piece of property that you're putting this on, but I'm sure it was next to nothing because nobody wanted it because it's all shale. But you guys can afford to do that. And it's a shame that this is happening. I left New York just because of this, and I come up here and I get it again. So thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, Mike Stevens, Stephenens, 5 Squire Lane, York, Maine. And another thought I was thinking is, what is the light interval going to be? So we're going to add a fourth light. You're not going to be able to let Old Post Road and Irving go at the same time. So I'd just like to know if anybody has the numbers for right now. If you're on Route 1, you get a red light. It is 38 seconds. It's 1.5 minutes. I don't know. And what's it going to be drawn out to? I think notifying abutters that are 200 feet when it's going to go 1 mile down the road to one lane, I think that's part of the project. It almost should be everybody people in Whippoorwill should be here right now screaming. You're going to come to the lights and you're going to take 3 lights before you get through that light with the 4 light interval going on. I've gone to Irving a lot, different Irvings, Southern Maine, Lakes Region, New Hampshire, And I believe this will be the first Irving I find that has one exit. If you think about it, every Irving I've seen, Bethel, Maine, everything in New Hampshire, they have 2 exits. And they have 2 exits for a reason. Trucks, forget tractor trailers, landscapers with a 15-foot trailer and 3 lawnmowers, where are they gonna go? They're gonna go around the loop and they're gonna block every parking spot that they propose with a trailer. No one's gonna be able to get out. It's gonna be a show and a half. How that's gonna affect me is Squire Lane's gonna be blocked for a mile. And when I try to take my left into Squire Lane, I'm not gonna be able to take my left. But I'm gonna be blocking the 2 lanes going northbound. I'm gonna be blocking 1. And people, that's where we get rear-ended. My wife's been rear-ended. We've had 3 or 4 accidents getting rear-ended. You don't wanna block that. So I hope they propose at least not painting over, but make a turn lane. I can get into the turn lane, I'm out of danger, and I can wait for my opening to get into Squire Lane, and it will work for the other neighbors to turn in to get into their driveways. Same thing at York Woods. That would be a benefit. The next thing would be, I'd like to have contact information for the state, because it sounds like we can't tell Irving, you can't have a gas station. We zoned it. They can have a gas station. But they're looking for the cheapest way out to fix the road. The company with the most money is looking to paint lanes instead of adding lanes. So if we're gonna let this go, we shouldn't be ruining our future for traffic. Because 2 years from now, you can't go back to Irving and say, we made a mistake, could you spend $1.5 million fixing the road? It doesn't work that way. We need them to do it right. So I wanna know who the contact is for the state, that us as residents, we should be calling them and saying, we wanna talk to you about the proposed Irving and the traffic flow, and they should be hearing this, not you guys. If they meet all the requirements, they're gonna get their Irving. It's the state that's gonna tell them what they have to do to fix the road. So that would help.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Leah Peterson. That's Leah. Peterson is Peterson. I live at 1 Mill Ridge Farm Lane. That used to be, I believe, 834, 836 US Route 1. So I'm the first house on Mill Ridge, which is a private road. And I see all of the horrible traffic, almost accidents, the cars that have to swerve by people turning left into my road, into oncoming traffic to avoid rear-ending them. I've seen neighbors be hit. I've seen people, the bus stop is right at my end of my street because the bus doesn't come up our private road. So I've seen people ignore the bus stop, just completely, they don't see it. The traffic is so fast and they just don't have time. Not that that's Irving's problem. What I'm saying is, it's just going to create more traffic, more problems, more, just an overall mess. And one thing that no one seems to have brought up, or maybe they have in the past, is this is a 5-island gas station that's giant. I don't understand why we need something so big taking up so much space in a horrible traffic intersection. I feel like Kennebunk is even smaller than that, but maybe not. So I think we need to think about the image of York too, in putting that out there. Maybe the gas station is what everybody wants, but I don't think something that size is appropriate for our town, and I don't think it benefits anyone. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Ed Arsenault, Arsenault. I live on Norton Avenue, and I travel that road every day. I go to Eldridge. I'm in that mall all the time. And not for nothing, coming out of Eldridge, if the 95 eggs coming onto Route 1 is ton of cars coming off of there. I've been in Eldridge many a times just trying to get onto Route 1 for 15 minutes. You finally get, if you want to go south, you finally get an opening to go south. You can't because all the cars from north. So you just sit there and just wait for a massive opening. It's really ridiculous. I think it's a horrible place to put it. And they have one down a mile and a half down the road. When they have their specials, the cars are lined up on Route 1 trying to get into that gas station, and it's going to happen again over there. I mean, how many gas stations you need on Route 1? I just think you're putting your life in hands just trying to get out of Anthony's and Eldridge in the little mall there. It's awful. It's really something to consider. Look at in the last few weeks, you had, what, four accidents there? I mean, if that's what you want, that's what you get. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm here. I hate podiums. I do have a question from the last meeting, and I don't know if Dean was the one that mentioned it, but there was a discussion around the infrastructure.
Your name.
Oh, Diane Binger, Binger, and I live at 801 US Route 1. About the infrastructure when the project is finished. I don't know if it was the lighting or there was some discussion about the York residents being then responsible for the upkeep of what is going to be put in. That's going to burden every taxpayer in our town, and I think this doesn't just impact, the people who live nearby. We have people who who use this intersection frequently, but also I think there's a financial burden that's potentially, in addition to what everybody's mentioned about the potential damage, but the taxpayers being burdened with the upkeep when Irving leaves. The project is done and there's something that goes wrong. So just something to consider. I really hope you listen to all these amazing people and what's best for our town. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
My name is Kevin Green, Green. I also live at York Woods. I've lived there for almost 10 years. I'm probably not the only person in the room that belongs to like one of these loyalty programs. You get like a loyalty program at many local stores around. You continue doing business with them. They make it worth your while. They give you a discount on different things. So one of my rewards programs is Irving. I've been an Irving Rewards member before I lived in New York. So one of the things that Irving does to make you aware of different things going on is they send emails out to let you know, hey, yes, this is what's happening. They let you know, okay, you're almost at a level that you get an additional so much off your fuel purchase. A couple of years ago, Irving opened up a station on Lafayette Road, I think it's right by Water Country. So I was on the mailing list and said, listen, if you come on over within this period of time, you get an additional 20 cents off a gallon. So today's environment, everybody likes to get additional money off something that they're going to be purchasing, especially gas. You need gas. I think the last meeting, I needed gas, and I get an email saying, go to the Irving station in Elliott on 236. You get 30 cents off a gallon. I said, gee, that's better than the one down the street. So I did it. I got gas over there. I felt good that I saved a good amount of money. So that implies to me that if we go forward with this, you're going to have Irving continuing to send emails out to people in Portsmouth, to people in Elliott, say, hey, there's a new gas station in York. we'll make it worth your while. So I think what I'm hearing today is that there's concern about the existing traffic coming through and what the impact could be, like accidents, et cetera, while that's that they get given. What you also have is Irving is going to do the same thing. They're going to be emailing folks in those other communities, say, hey, listen, there's a new gas station. Come on over to York. We make it worth your while. So we're going to see increased traffic, not just the existing traffic, and that's going to just continue to exacerbate things. So that's all I had to say, just to kind of make you aware of that unless they're going to be changing their marketing strategies, there's going to be a lot of people coming into York. We never want to turn down people coming into York for the right reasons, but if they're only coming in here to purchase gas because they're going to get money off, they're just going to be adding to the backups that we're already experiencing. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
My name is Tim Greenberg. I Greenberg, and I live on Raiden Road Extension. I think, has anyone ever looked at a gas station and said, that's beautiful? Has anyone ever looked at something and said, oh, wow, that's an infrastructure we need? All the points on safety that have been made, but I think thinking about the future and where we want to be as a town is more important than taking the quick buck today to try and solve a problem that's not going to be fixed by a corporation coming in. What makes York special is that there aren't chain restaurants and there aren't chain buildings. So think about the future. Don't take the quick buck now.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll go over there first. Yes. Yep. He was quicker with his hand.
I'm Glenn Gruba, Gruba, from York Woods Townhouse. We have a condo there. I just want to confirm that you have received our written set of concerns, and that could save me any of your time in talking.
We should have that, but there's been some delay in that simply because the town planner is on vacation, but we do get them all. They send them all to us.
Can I distribute copies to you right now?
If you have copies, you can give them to.
Yes.
We'll pass them down.
Just make sure the applicant also gets some.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, we have to share here.
That's all right, we'll pass them. Don't worry about it. Thank you.
So I won't, it would take me I timed it, about 6 minutes to read the whole thing, but it covers our.
We will read it.
Okay, just to summarize, it covers our concerns about traffic, noise, lighting, hours of operation, and in particular, the quality of our pond, which is just downhill from this development. I'll just read that one section. Our pond with shoreline owned by us and one other property owner sits at a lower elevation than the development site. It has experienced a significant growth of non-native invasive Phragmites, which has been mitigated by cutting to preclude seed development and to deplete the strength of the rhizomes. The pond houses has been visited by bass, sunfish, frogs, at least 2 species of turtles, dragonflies, mallard ducks, Canadian geese, kingfishers, great blue heron, and black cormorant. We have witnessed occasional small spots of oily sheen suspected to be from Route 1 runoff. We worry that motor oil, grease, gasoline, and other contaminants from minor surface spills at times of heavy rain could enter our pond from the development site. Also, of potential concern is increased salt runoff from winter salt usage on any parking or service areas. With respect to the above sources of contaminants, we hope that that replacement of natural soil and vegetation buffers by asphalt will be minimal. We expect that all systems for sewage treatment, oil separation, and drainage will incorporate effective methods for monitoring and maintenance. And finally, any major and rare catastrophic spills of contaminants on the project site could potentially be devastating for our pond. And the final section is character of the community and need for services, but the gentleman that preceded me pointed out that well, but more can be read in detail there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Martha Cronin, 137 Fieldstone Estates, CRONIN. A few different things which have already been mentioned. The environmental impact on both the pond at the condos and also Little River and runoff. Basically, that's a huge thing in my mind. When you're looking at a gas station, you're not looking at a clean, you're not looking at a pristine environment. You're looking at spillage, you're looking at oil leakage, you're looking at traffic flow bringing things such as accidents, which also can impact those things. We on Fieldstone Estates, and I don't know if anyone else from the neighborhood has spoken, are already feeling the impact of being a cut through. We have tried to get our road off of the ways directions to short sands and long sands. Hasn't worked, but we try. We look at this as just being one more thing that is in our town that we don't necessarily need. It's going to impact traffic flow. It's going to impact safety. It's going to impact pedestrian and bike traffic in our town, which we obviously don't have enough, engagement with, which that's a whole other matter. But really, what it comes down to is how does this impact our town? Not just the summer people, not just the winter people, but our town as a whole. We understand, people who live here year-round understand that we live in two towns. We live in Summertown and Wintertown. We are happy to do so. However, you're changing the structure of this town with the things that you're bringing in. And a 5-bay gas station, when there's 3 other gas stations a mile up the road, we have accidents at Anthony's, we have accidents at Eldridge, we have accidents at Fieldstone. God forbid you take a left in the summer off of Fieldstone. You're taking your life into your own hands, even taking a right off of Route 1 in the summer because someone's going to rear end you. I have no faith that the things that they are saying we're going to do, we're going to take care of this, we're going to manage this. I have no faith. I grew up in a town with more cows than people. We now have a Friendly Toast, a Whole Foods, a Trader Joe's, and unfortunately, no cows. And that's where I want you to really think about what you want in this town. You have a historic district, which is great. It's beautiful. We have beaches. They're gorgeous. Why do people move here? They are not moving here for an extra gas station. When we look at the disruption of the building of the gas station, we're looking at blasting. And we all know what blasting has done to other roads in this town, which now have lovely sewer systems and no septics now. We know that. So really, I implore you, just think about what this will do to the town. Yay, the people in Ogunquit get a gas station that's not in their town. Okay, great. We're stuck with it, and we get all the lovely things that come with it. Trash. We pick up trash every single day walking my dog on Fieldstone Estates. Bags. I have made so much money at Clink with the number of nips that I have picked up on the side of that road. I don't think it's going to get any better.
Can you wrap it up, please? Thank you.
I'm thanking you very much for keeping this town precious. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. No hands? Oh, yes.
My name is Pat Richards, R-I-C-H-A-R-D-S. I also live at 801 US Route 1. We live right in the very front. We are right on the street. I witness the police sitting right across the street every single day, and they are there because of the accidents, because of the speeding motorcycles, the people taking off from the light at excessive speeds. And I'm not talking about necessarily York residents. I'm talking about the heightened example of this during the summer months. And there are many comments, even on social media, from the people at Wiggins Auto Repair, which is just down the road, where accidents are happening or cars are careening off the side of the road because a tow truck has to pull into their auto repair section. And there are accidents, and there's injuries on a regular basis there. The police don't waste putting somebody at that spot just because there's nowhere else to put them. They put them there because of the traffic and the accidents and the speeding that goes on. You've heard from people talking about the impact to our septic system, the risks of the blasting, the traffic issues, the light pollution, all those kinds of things. If you are actually responsible to the people in York, then you need to pay attention to the things that we are saying. We are very passionate about this. We are not against Irving as a business, but we are against this thoughtless kind of business that's being put in that isn't needed. I understand that I've been told, and it makes sense, that they want to get an Irving that is before I-95. Their Irving is past I-95. So cars that are coming from Ogunquit and coming to the interstate now will have a gas station to go to. God bless them. Find some other place on a road that isn't at a high maintenance area already. I don't think York residents are going to support this Irving station because there's so much concern and feeling that we are not being respected, we are not being heard, we are not being understood, when I know there's a whole lot of money coming from that end, and we don't have that coming from this end. We're taxed already up the wazoo. But it's more than money. It's quality of life, and many people have spoken to that, and I don't need to say it again. But all these things that people are saying, I hope you hear that. I hope you hear that we are not against a gas station or somebody trying to make a business. But this is our home. This is our town. This is where we live. This is where we have chosen to live and maybe retire, like my husband and I. This is where we choose to retire. So we need to make that welcoming to everybody, and not just the people who are flying out of town, out of Ogunquit, out of Wells. I volunteer at the Ogunquit Playhouse. Do you know how difficult it is for people to get into Ogunquit Playhouse? And that's even 7 miles further north. There are issues with Route 1, and you've got to hear that. You've just got to hear that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Ellen Joyce, Joyce. I'm not really here about the Irving gas station. I'm really here about the Bagel Basket because I live across the street from that. But I'm not talking about Bagel Basket right now. What I'm saying is I'm here listening. And as an independent person without any dog in this fight, I say, are you listening? Do we need another gas station? It's as simple as that. Do we really need another gas station? Particularly if it's going to cause this much havoc and problem and disruption for the people who live in this town and pay the taxes? Do we need a gas station? I don't think so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing no hands. Going, gone. Okay, well, this will be end of the public comment portion. We will then, without objection, close the public hearing. So ordered. I'll ask the applicant, do you have any specific comment? Oh, yeah, excuse me, go ahead.
The board was in receipt of some correspondence. And I think the applicant received some of that as well. I just want to make sure the board received those correspondence that I think want to be part of the record and make part of the record.
The one that we received, the paper copies you're talking about?
No, through electronic.
A petition?
There was a petition from York Woods, of which that was sent to the applicant as well. And there might have been one more, at least from me that I received. I don't know, Brendan. That might have been it. Okay. And then you did receive something that was handed out, which I want to make sure the applicant receives.
Yes.
You got that? Okay, that is the one.
Okay. Yes, we did receive a document the beginning of the night on 834 US Route 1 issues, eight-page document, and we are glad to receive any feedback. And again, the process is that anything that gets emailed to the town planner will get forwarded to us right away. So we do appreciate and read everything that comes through. Okay. Then give the applicant a chance to respond to some of the points that were brought up before we dive into the rest of the rest of the review. Anything you'd like to add?
Yes, Nicole Duquette, McClure Engineering Company.
Speak up, please.
Sorry about that. Nicole Duquette, McClure Engineering Company. I probably call up Scott to answer some of these questions. I tried to take a lot of notes on this. I think I've got like 5 or 6 pages here, so bear with me. I'm not going to answer all of them because a lot of them are repetitive, but I'll kind of do the ones, try to
Yeah,
summarize it.
Ones that were factual in nature.
Yes. There was a comment about this being a residential area, no commercial entities. This is in the Route 13 district, and this is an allowable use. The gas station is an allowable use. And I do want to kind of just highlight that this isn't just something that we're asking for a variance or a special exception. In the zoning ordinance, this is stated as an allowable use for this lot. Let's see, going down, Scott will get into this a little bit more, but I know that somebody mentioned that there was only 2 lanes, and I do want to mention there is 2 through this intersection. The northbound is 2 lanes going north and the left into our site. What is reduced as far as lanes goes is the southbound. It's 1 through, and that through left turn lane onto Old Post changes into a left turn. And I just want to, I'm very familiar with this intersection. I've got relatives in the area, and I drive through this intersection a lot. And I was driving down the road on a Saturday in the summer, and that southbound left lane, which is a high-speed lane right now, there's no left turn lane right there. It had 7 to 9 vehicles queued in that intersection, in that lane, because they could not take the left onto Old Post Road. So that will be alleviated by this, by what Scott has
Scott Thornton has proposed for this. And again, he'll go into more of it. I'm not a traffic engineer. I just noticed it when I went by it. The other thing is that, the Scott one, experience with gas stations leaking, wants protection for well water. Gas stations have come a long way. I know McClure and GPI are very used to proposing gas stations, and I think GPI does a wonderful job making sure that there are redundancies put in place. They'll do the tank and piping plan. They make sure that there is double-walled tanks. What that means is if there is a potential leak in a tank, there is another wall to protect it from. And what they're now seeing is, now with these double-walled tanks, you're not seeing leaks in these tanks. And you're required to replace them every so often. And Chris can tell you the exact years. It's either 20 or 30 years. So there's redundancies in alarm systems for leak protection. There's redundancies in sumps. All those redundancies are in place. And then with the stormwater, and say if it's not something with the system itself, the stormwater is put in place to protect. So we have oil water separators, we have hydrodynamic separators, we have deep sunk catch basins with oil water separator hoods. Each of those items basically is put in a train to collect any surface contamination, whether it's just a leaking car or a pump that somebody decides to turn on and it doesn't, they drip it onto the concrete. There's spill containment grooves around on the concrete. That's the first line of defense. If it's on the pavement, then there's the deep sump catch basins with the hoods that keep that keep a certain amount of oil or floatables within the catch basin. Then that goes to an oil water separator, which can collect a lot more, and then a hydrodynamic separator, which collects even more. So in the small case that this happens, small chance that it ever happens, it is protected. As far as the septic goes, because there was a comment about the septic, this is actually a system that it has pretreatment, and not many, unless you're living on the water, you don't usually have pretreatment on your septic systems. This one will. So basically, the water will be pre-treated before it goes into the effluent disposal area or leaching field. So it becomes more of an infiltration rather than effluent disposal system at that point. That needs to.
While you're thinking, we will get into much more detail on traffic and the lights and so forth. But there was a little confusion. In one place, I seem to recall there was 5 pumps and then another one 4.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. That's down lower. We are proposing 4 lanes, not 5. So, no, 4 islands, not 5 on this proposal. So we were proposing 5 at first, but that has been reduced. Then there was a comment about whatever work is done for the off-site improvements will make the York Woods entrance even lower. We are not proposing to add any pavement to it. We are just restriping, basically. The lane widths stay the same. It's just restriping those exact lanes. And there was a comment about saying Irving said that they can't control deliveries. And I do want to make a clarification. This is not, the client is not Irving. Irving is a tenant of this property. The developer, Tropic Star, is local. He's New England. They're out of the seacoast. So it's not like an international corporation that is proposing this. It is somebody local. And the deliveries can be controlled. What can't be controlled is the delivery truck size. And this site has been designed to, and there's truck maneuvering plans in the plan set that shows tractor trailers can go in it. And if a tractor trailer can go in it and our fire trucks can go in it, then a RV or a truck pulling a landscape trailer or a boat trailer will be able to get in and out of this site as well. And we've done the truck maneuvering in and out of that one driveway and the right turn lane as well. As far as the one driveway versus two driveways, there are plenty of gas stations with just one exit. The preference is always going to be two driveways, because why wouldn't a commercial entity not want two driveways? It does make it easier for deliveries to get in and out, but that's why there's a little extra pavement on this site to allow those trucks to maneuver on the site. So we do have two driveways, but one of them is an in only, and then the main driveway is full access. 5 lanes, we just went over that. There was a question about, and Dean probably can answer this better than I can. There was about responsible for maintenance. This section of Route 1 is maintained right now by the town. There are certain things that we were told to do as far as not having curbing on the road, because that makes it difficult and more expensive for the town to maintain. So we have listened to those comments and made sure that we don't increase the cost. One of the good things that this is doing is that signal right now is out of date, and you're having trouble maintaining it right now. So that will be replaced with a new signal, with new span wire and poles. So that will help
Paid for by the applicant.
paid for by the applicant. So that's something that needs to be done anyways. And it's not something that is caused by the addition of this. It's just something that needs to be done. Light pollution, there was a comment last time, and I think it was from the person across the street from the site. There was a comment about the canopy being too bright. So we did listen to that, and we have reduced the light levels on that. So there is a new photometric plan in there that has reduced light levels under the canopy. It's not what's typically requested by Irving. It is not a lot less, but it's less than the typical Irving lights for a canopy. But we did take that into consideration and reduce those. And there was something said about a thoughtless proposal, and I just want to mention this. I mean, the board knows we've been in front of you for now, I think, 2 years. We've taken our time to make sure that we're addressing comments. We've taken our time to make sure that we write down the issues and address them. So this isn't an overnight thing that we've mutually gone through. As far as the traffic, I think.
There was one,
Right here.
there was a question about blasting.
Blasting, thank you. So with every blasting, and it's Main Drilling Blast, yes, so the company doing the blasting is Main Drilling and Blasting, and they're very well respected in the area. What they do is they do blasting surveys prior to the blasting in the area to make sure that there isn't any concerns. So they'll do one prior, and then if there's an issue,
And by a survey, you mean?
they look at the foundations of anybody that allows them to come in a certain vicinity of the
Are
site.
they qualified geotechnical engineers?
We have a geotechnical engineer on this that has done borings already.
I'm not asking about the borings, I'm asking about the blasting.
I don't know if they have anybody licensed.
I
you know? Yeah, that's something that we can find out, though.
I think it would be helpful to the board if we could see a report from a geotech in support of the blasting that you're suggesting.
Okay.
And along the same lines, I think it would be helpful to the board if we could see a blasting plan.
Okay. All right, so
Okay,
I'm going to turn it over to Scott.
right?
Just a few minutes.
Do you want me to pull up the plan?
No.
And again, you're Scott.
Yeah, Scott Thornton with Vanessa and Associates. And Thornton. So,
And we'll get a little more into the specifics in the review of traffic, but go ahead.
yeah, I just wanted to take this time to address some of the comments that we heard earlier. I thought Nicole did a real good job of going over some of the traffic concerns and some of the comments that were identified. Just to confirm, there's the intersection is proposed as a 4-lane section on Route 1. There'll be exclusive turn lanes in both the northbound and the southbound direction. We'll maintain 2 lanes going northbound, 2 through lanes going northbound, and 1 through lane coming southbound. There's a proposal for an alternating merge to occur north of the intersection for southbound traffic. There is the currently revised plan has designed to allow a left turn, to provide a left turn lane into Squire Lane, so that is part of the proposal. Nicole mentioned the fact that the project was downsized. It was originally 5 bays or 5 gas pump islands. It's been reduced to 4. There was a question about when the traffic study was performed. We did our counts. The Maine DOT for Route 1 has specific dates that traffic counts must be conducted in, and I think it's basically the end of June till the middle of August in this area. We did the counts at the end of June. It was last year, but we did those counts within that time period at the end of June. So that meets the Maine DOT criteria. There was a question about what the light interval is going to be, and how the side streets would not, Old Post Road would not go at the same time, would not get a phase, would not get the green phase at the same time as the driveway traffic would, or that it shouldn't be on the same phase. That's not correct. Those phases can run together. There's no conflicting movements. We're going to have most likely left turns running from the gas station and then from Old Post Road, and then we'll have the through movements run. So there shouldn't be any conflicting movements there. In terms of the light interval and what the timing would be, it's probably going to be somewhere in the 60 to 90 second range. It hasn't been thoroughly designed at this point yet. We take into account the latest conditions when we look at the signal timing. But one thing to keep in mind is, the traffic signals, when they stop the traffic flow on the main line, that provides gaps in the traffic flow for driveways and traffic to enter and exit. With the traffic coming out of the gas station, that's going to trigger that light more. The Old Post Road traffic is going to trigger the light, and there'll be opportunities for traffic to get in and out of other driveways.
Can I just step in here? Any conversation that's going on makes it difficult for the board members to hear what the applicant is saying. So if we could either have it outside or try not to have it at all.
Thanks.
The other thing that's important to note is that most traffic going to a fueling facility is traffic that's already on the road. You know, most people don't go from their house to the gas station and back, or from work to a gas station and back. Most people stop along the way. So that traffic that's going to this site most of it's already there. It's pass-by traffic. They pull in, you know, if they're headed south, they pull in, make the right turn in, and then make the right turn out. Not all the traffic, but a large component of it is traffic that's already there. There was a comment about impacting traffic and bike and pedestrian flow. The proposed plan includes 5-foot shoulders, which is the requirement, the standard requirement for bike lanes with curbing. So we have that. We also have a pedestrian phase programmed in to that traffic signal with a crosswalk. So pedestrians could go up to a push button activator, press the button, and get a walk signal, a walk phase. All traffic would stop at that intersection, and people could cross Route 1 at a safe condition. We've got other stuff, but we'll save it for the presentation. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Shall we go to the peer review?
There's one other item that was brought up. Just want to
Oh, sure.
check with Dylan about extending the butter notices where there were off-site improvements. Is that normally done, or is it just off the parcel itself?
Typically, it's just the parcel itself.
I can see where, especially if you're doing, affecting the road further afield, that it may be better for the town to more widely
Extend it.
distribute those notices.
I actually agree with that.
Yeah, especially with the blasting.
Yeah, the blasting radius. Well, and the, any of that construction, they would be impacted by that.
Yeah, something for future
Notices?
future notices. Yeah, that probably would be a good idea.
I did want to add, if someone could remind me, was there an environmental study done as far as endangered species or impact?
It's in the checklist. I don't remember.
I had it as a question mark. I feel like I saw it, but because it was brought up, I wanted to mention it again to double check.
Some site and sub, right?
Yeah, that ring a bell, Dylan?
Sorry, I was just writing down a note. Environmental review.
Environmental impact, endangered species.
It's part of the submission under 6.4. I'd have to.
So it's 6.4, not,
6-4.
yeah, so we are in 6.4.
Perhaps the applicant can respond to that.
So there was research done on the maps, the state maps for critical and
Beginning
threatened
with
species.
habitat
And there,
site.
nothing was triggered.
Yeah, that's the typical is that they
Perfect.
go through the beginning with habitat site, looking for endangered species and that sort of thing.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Then, shall we get into compliance with town zoning ordinance? Page 4 of the review, go through these. I mean, we're obviously, we're going to run into a time crunch here at some point. I don't know what the best thing to do is. we're either going to sacrifice the time this needs, or we're going to sacrifice the time that the other application needs.
Go till 9 at least on this, or is that pushing into the other? Gives us an hour of review for preliminary.
Does that sound reasonable? Go to 9 on this one, and so that we can devote some time to the second application we have?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is the question appropriate now?
I'm afraid not now, sorry. Okay. If we don't conclude with our discussions on this final application by 9 o'clock, it will be continued either to a date certain or to a date to be determined, and we'll get into that later. We knew this was going to be complicated, and we knew both plans were going to require some attention, so. Shall we
Go
jump
through Chris's list.
into Chris, go through Chris's list? Dylan, you want to flag anything here? The waiver has been submitted for the building materials.
Do you just want to go point by point through his review? So the building materials is a waiver request has been submitted. I don't believe the board's acted on that regarding the building materials. And
For the canopy itself.
I believe that's part of it, yes. And maybe the applicant can,
Yeah, there's a list on the detail. I don't think the canopy itself had callouts on the material. I think that was Chris's second note, but it also tied into the first note. Like
I believe it does have callouts. It's
A1.2 or AA.2 or something.
pretty sure it has callouts, but Chris will check on that. I know that we did submit a waiver for the not having a roof, a pitch on the roof. That's the sign detail.
obviously, the applicant hasn't submitted a response to this yet, so.
Okay.
So it is provided on the canopy elevations, 1 of 1. That's towards the end of the package.
Do you have a page,
Right here.
page number on that? Or
So it's basically 2 sheets from, it's the 3rd sheet from the end.
Okay. The one with the pumps.
Yeah. So it's very, there's not a whole lot of material to describe on it, but it is described on that. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, ACM panel, color white, non-illuminated acrylic canopy sign.
So I don't know if the board wants to go and kind of, because I know you only have 20 minutes now, so I don't know if you want to look at each one and just, you could focus in on this one
Right.
thing and use
Yeah.
up that 20 minutes, or how you want to handle these comments. and-
Yeah.
Can I make a recommendation? I mean, I can go through these really quickly if you'd like, because I've written notes on them and just describe them a little bit and whether they're in there or whether we need to address something.
If we can move through that fairly quickly.
Okay,
then
I can do it quick. I talk
then
fast,
that-
so.
We've got Dean here, we want to make sure we leave a little time for.
Absolutely.
traffic.
So, item number 2, this is about the building elevations and best face forward. We addressed this last time because there's a door on that front face. Now, I believe the planning board decided that we did not need that waiver. We are asking for the waiver for the canopy for the flat roof. Landscape buffer, A just says it's one of the 2 requested waivers, so we're all set. And that's the utilities within that front buffer area because of the septic components and the drainage, because that's our downhill side of the site.
So was there a reason why the stormwater couldn't go more interior on the lot?
Because everything, I mean, that's our low point on the site. Everything is higher than that, so we need to let it drain to the front of the site. So that's the reason why those drainage lines are there. And some of the drainage does go to the existing culvert that is there, and we have drainage flow rights onto Mr. Fitzgerald's lot to the right of this too. So it's connecting to an existing drainage basin or overflow.
So are you pushing up the landscape buffer as close as you can to that?
It's within the
So-
buffer, so
Yeah,
I
it's
think Chris's
the front
comments
of
were
the site.
trees and items couldn't necessarily go where those fields or the pump stations or the culverts would be.
Right.
As
It's the low side of
side
the
of,
site.
yeah, because everything, because you have that ledge face in the back, you can see it from where we're moving that back further, so. The US Route 1 is a lot lower than the site itself. So everything needs to drain towards the front. So our system, our underground system is there. Our pipes to connect to the existing culvert that's adjacent to Route 1 is there. So that's why we need to have that in that area. And because it's our low spot, we have our detention system outside of that buffer. It's just the components and the pipes that are within that buffer area.
Underground.
Yeah. And because our drainage system is outside of the setback, we need to get our septic lines to get to the septic field on the other side. So we tried to consolidate it as much as possible. We still have landscaping in that area. It still will be green. It's just that we don't meet that requirement for having, and essentially utilities are allowed within, those are considered essential utilities. They're allowed within the buffer with permission from the planning board. We are proposing trees within there. There are 4 trees in that area, so it's not like we're not providing street trees. It's just, we have utilities going in between the trees and
Oh, so
bushes.
you're gonna have trees.
Yes.
I was gonna ask for trees or fence.
So you're talking about,
It's,
Could you
yeah.
bring that a little closer?
Yeah, just because I'm thinking
Visually.
you're doing a whole bunch of blasting, so just blast a little more and make everything run to the back a lot.
You know. Do we,
so we are proposing landscaping in there. It's just that we have utilities in there.
okay.
So on the
It's-
the buffer side where the septic is harder to landscape with the stormwater piping going for larger trees, but
Right.
we could do some garden beds or something to kind of enhance the side
And we
yard.
are not allowed to blast for septic.
Right, correct.
okay, that's helpful.
As an offset for going into the buffer with the utilities, would there be a thought to add a little bit more landscaping infilling between the 2 trees on the right side by the septic in the buffer yard?
Adding like shrubs instead?
Yeah. Just to kind of fill in that buffer zone.
Yes.
That's a good idea.
Just point the area he's talking about, so everybody sees it.
Yeah, that gap where the future septic.
Yeah, yeah. So
As
not,
long as-
not over the septic, but just outside.
Down gradient of it.
The outline, yeah.
I know you wanted to be Vanna.
I'm just one voice too, so if other members don't like the idea, feel
No, I
free
had
to.
a similar
Oh, that's-
thought.
That seems like an improvement. Okay, you want to continue then?
So item B is similar. It's regarding the stormwater piping. A was about septic, B is about stormwater, and we covered both of those. Now, this is where we do need the planning board's opinion. So we have a dumpster, and Chris, you may want to Vanna White this again. We do have a dumpster that is not within the buffer, the rear buffer, but it's adjacent to the buffer. And behind that is a ledge face. It's behind it is the ledge face, and right at the bottom of the ledge face, there's just a gravel area, and that's just to, any water that falls off that ledge face prevents erosion, prevents erosion behind the dumpster and prevents erosion from going onto our pavement. A little bit of the gravel and the ledge face is within the buffer. Now, the code enforcement officer has said that he believes that the ledge face and the gravel would be considered landscaped items, because you're allowed to have landscape within the landscape buffer. It's, and I do have that section if anybody wants to see it.
I kind of remember addressing this at one of our first
We
meetings.
did.
I don't know if Kristen picked
So,
up on our okay with it.
yeah, so that's the only thing, whether or not that ledge face, which is a natural element, and the gravel, a little sliver of gravel is allowed within the landscape buffer. That's the same for the side. The side is just the ledge face that's within that buffer. And one of his determinations is that the ledge face creates more of a buffer for noise and than anything else, because it is a 20-foot ledge face. And we are downhill from, we're on the down gradient side, so any noise would be blocked from going into that residential neighborhood, which I think is Squire Lane back there. Quite a bit distance back, but it is buffering that. So the intent is met.
So I think we need to skip over the rest of the landscaping and get right at number 4, the traffic study. There was a question of that the DOT, Maine DOT, hasn't received all the information that they requested as regarding the modeling.
So I do want to make a clarification. We did submit, I know it's on Randy Dutton's email, but we did submit the synchro files. I don't think it made it over to Randy because he got hard copies, and that's an electronic format. So we did provide a link with our submittal, but it didn't make it over to Randy Dutton, and that submittal was made on July 1st, I believe. The Maine DOT, we have addressed all Maine DOT TMP comments. That was formally submitted. The additional comments were revised and submitted, I believe, Monday. And we've been working for the last month on finalizing the easements that are required for both the right turn lane into the site and the sidewalk that is within our site and would be on Mr. Fitzgerald's lot as well.
Okay.
Scott, do you have anything to add? Okay.
Can I jump right to Dean right now and get your comments on this? Because this seems to be a big sticking point between Maine DOT approval as well as the town's approval.
And a common thread of concern in the public.
Right, exactly, and the threat of concern of losing 2 full lanes. So, Dean?
Yes, so like I commented at the last meeting, is that I think it's very important that we wait till the state issues the traffic movement permit. So then we can see what exactly they are accepting, what they're not accepting, what they're asking the applicant to do. And that may be sufficient to us, but it may not be. So it's hard for me to come out and give you complete comments when we haven't had that they don't have that traffic movement permit yet, that I can look at and say, okay, this is what's being required, and maybe we should require a little bit more, or maybe that's satisfactory. Some of the things that I do have concerns with, just with their proposal, and not knowing how that TMP will actually be, or the state will come down on what side of that is the loss of capacity. Going to that one southbound lane through the intersection, the through lane. Now, as Nicole said, I go through that intersection often. There are times when there's a left turner onto Old Post Road that can't get through because of the 2 oncoming lanes the other way, and it will back up traffic. But the addition of that left-hand turn pocket is not going to relieve that, right? It just moves all those left turners there, and it pushes the through people all into that one lane. Now, there are times when there's only one or two cars that are turning left. Once they clear, then that lane goes through. So there's some loss of capacity. Is it 100% like 2 through lanes? No. So we have an ongoing study. The results aren't out on what we'll need for now or even into the future. So I don't have that information, and I'm not sure the applicant has really given me a good feeling about what we'll need much more than 3 years from now. So if we agree to this, in 5 years from now, there's more development, which continues on, any additional improvements will be on us or the state. We maintain that area, so if there are problems, we're going to hear about it first. You know, people in Augusta or even in Scarborough, they'll hear about it, but they're not going to feel it like we feel it. So without the information, it's hard for me to say, yes, we can live with that 1 through lane, or no, we can't. There would have to be a lot more modeling in my mind to be done, and a future lookout on growth to be able to say, is this going to be good for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years? You know, I can't make a good recommendation on that.
Will the state, when they come down, will they do the evaluation on level of service, or is that?
Well, that is being done by the applicant, and if you look at what I've seen from the hard copies really quickly, is that there are a few turning movements that go from level service B or C now to a D. And, you know, if that will be acceptable to the state of Maine, that may not be acceptable to the town.
We do have 15-A.5B. It says mitigation of adverse impacts. So in the event that a full traffic study identifies traffic flow or safety problems that will create by the proposed development, the applicant shall be responsible for mitigating the impacts.
Right.
So that level of service decreasing, is that?
Yeah, I think that would fall into that category. However, the applicant, I would imagine, could apply for a waiver for that if the board so choose to waive that. I have not seen a modeled section with the 5 lanes in the left turn pocket and right turn lane and what that does to level of service. I would assume that would improve that, and it would probably take those turning movements out of D, but I don't know that for sure because I just don't have that information to look at.
So there is a section in the site subregs that says you cannot go from a C to a D in a level of service.
C to a
D.
D? Oh, I
So
thought
in
it
that's
was-
section 8.14, so you can't do that without a waiver of the site subreg. So I think in my conversations with Randy and whatnot, they're waiting for the synchro modeling to review that and really answer those questions, because that's a big question that I had, and certainly Dean is looking at as well.
And as of today, the correspondence from Randy was he didn't have access to those. So this is new information that he may have had a link that was missed or not submitted. So hopefully when he gets back tomorrow or next week, he'll be able to look at that and start to analyze that.
So when they talk about level of service for either an intersection or a site, does that mean that all of the turns have a level of service of, say, B? Or does that mean it's sort of an average?
So in simple terms, right, level of service is primarily about delay. How long are you delayed in that movement at that light, you know, et cetera. So think of it like grades. A is really, really good. B, C, you start getting D, E, F, then you're starting to get into some issues. But D is an acceptable, as from the state's perspective, D is relatively acceptable because that is not uncommon in even in the state of Maine. So, but if our regulations, you know, and I'm not up to date on all our zoning regulations and those types of things, if they prevent it, I don't know if that's something that can be waived, or if they don't meet it, if it can be waived, or no, they have to keep it above level D into a C category.
So it's an overall grade for the traffic pattern?
So it's kind of each movement. So it could be a left turn that's at level of service D, or a right turn, or a through right.
You need 1 D out of all of them.
Yeah, and when I looked at it quickly, there seemed to be probably 3 areas where it went from 2D.
Yep.
You know, a lot of it is where there was a shared lane, now you're splitting that, and that split has now caused one of them to be in level of service D, or a larger delay.
Yeah, I'll get right to you a second. So in that, so that traffic impact study, they went and analyzed the current situation for the level of impact, meaning
Correct.
essentially how much delays is it causing?
What is we're experiencing right now?
And then they modeled out what, with the improvements, that is the street, the new signals,
proposed
as
design.
well as whatever extra lanes were going to be used for the project. And then they'll project a future, or with this development, what will those specific level of services be? In other words, the delays. Okay.
That's correct.
I'll throw it to you then.
Yeah, thank you. So the main DOT rules for analysis for traffic movement permits are pretty complicated. And so, so there's a number of different, excuse me, level of service calculations that are going on. And the latest ones, which required us to do a micro simulation of the intersection, that was requested from the town's reviewer. And it was also included in the latest TMP application, or TMP and traffic study that went back to the state. I believe those operations have improved. I don't think there are any level service Ds, but when we come back, we'll give you the actual information. The other thing that has to be considered is that Maine DOT does not like this intersection the way it is. They don't like traffic signals where left turns have to be made from shared lanes because they think it's unsafe. So the first thing that has to be done at that intersection to make an improvement there is you have to add left turn lanes. Dedicated. You can't, so when we're talking about the operations of shared lanes, the analysis thinks, oh, okay, there's a lane that can be made, that left turns can be made and through movements can be made. So that has plenty of capacity and plenty of operational movements and not a lot of delay. So those operations are better than if you have to control the movements by adding dedicated left turn lanes that are operated under separate signal phases that have to stop. They can't just come up and go through the intersection like the current condition. So, and as a condition of doing anything at that intersection, you have to replace the signal equipment because, as Dean has mentioned, that's the oldest signal in town. They can't get parts for it. So a new signal is required. A new intersection layout is required. As far as looking at the future condition, I believe there's a corridor study that's underway that is looking at future conditions and maybe identifying other developable areas. But those projects that are yet to be named are going to have to do what we're doing, which is to mitigate their impact. So if that intersection, if somebody puts in or wants to put in a larger development that shows an overcapacity result at that intersection, then they have to modify that intersection. And the town's corridor study may result in a future scenario. Maybe it will be 5 lanes out there, looking at a 20-year or a 10-year horizon. But that's beyond the scope of this project.
Is there enough width there now for 5 lanes, two through on north and southbound?
No.
What's the dimension you would need in the, I guess, the Route 1 easement?
So there would need to be, need to pick up some space. It's probably 5 feet or so, maybe off the top of my head. I'm not sure, but you have to pick up additional right-of-way for that, for the additional lane.
And there really isn't any space on the east side of that because there's a house right there
Yeah.
on the, very close to the edge of the road.
Yep.
So it'd have to be on the other side if you're going to go wider.
I'd be interested in the exact length across Route 1 that you would need between the easements. Our GIS maps aren't super accurate, but I think there was like 80 feet in front of there. And I think the total width of this was like 55 feet off the top of my head.
It's probably 40, it's probably 50, yeah, it's probably close to that. It's probably 55, maybe a little more, because we have the widened area for the shoulders.
So is it in an easement issue, or is it the fact that the road just hasn't been developed for that width yet?
It hasn't been developed for that width.
So you
And
wouldn't
and there's
like-
not, and I don't believe there's right of way for it.
That'd be something worth checking.
It would have to be a taking in order.
Dean, what do you have anything to offer to this?
Yeah, I believe if you look at the GIS, I don't have a survey, but GIS is usually pretty accurate, within a foot or two. It's showing 78 to 80 feet. I believe even with 5-foot shoulders, that would be enough for a 5-lane section.
It would be enough.
It would be, without taking any rights. Now, it's not going to be easy building, because
What's the width?
topography and,
What's the lane width at that point? The lane width,
So 11 to 12 feet per lane.
11 to 12?
so 5 11-foot lanes would be 55, 2 5-foot shoulders, you're now at 65 feet, and you're trying to put that in 80 feet? I believe that's doable.
It would mean pushing back, so,
It would mean that you would be widening on both sides, not just on one side. And then you would have to shift your lanes over in order to accommodate that. Similar to what we did at Short Sands Road.
Yeah, because is that 5 lanes there?
Yes, yep.
yes, it is.
So the other thing to consider too, is that we've been told by DOT that it is less expensive for them to add on than to demo after the fact.
Then to what?
So to demo after the fact and reduce it down.
Oh, I
So
see.
if this corridor study comes back and does exactly what we do, that we said, then if you went to a 5-lane, you're gonna spend more money to reduce it down.
I would like to see that calculation any day. This being in construction for 35 years, you start building roadway with gravel depths and paving, and I can get an excavator in there in 2 days and rip up pavement, and then loam and seed it.
And
So,
it's not just that, but it's the loop signals and all that.
yeah, if you were putting, you would have to redo your loops. But I would hope that this signal is going to be camera. I would recommend that this not be loops in the pavement, that there would be a camera controlling these controllers here.
So you're saying like, if there's no traffic at the old post side,
Stays green.
then the light wouldn't change, is that what for
Well,
example?
even now, even with loops, there detects vehicles in those loops under the pavement. No one's putting loops in anymore. It's just too maintenance intensive. The state and the town just went through and put all new Omni system cameras on all the signals in order to be able to control that better. I don't think we're going to want loops in there. That would be against my recommendation anyway.
Yeah, no, it would probably be camera installation.
So I think my applicant would be very upset at me if I didn't mention this. All these improvements do come at a cost. So the ones that we are doing, I mean, it's at a cost of $650,000. So anything more than that just makes this unreasonable. We're required to have it proportional, our mitigation proportional to our impact. And right now, we're doing more than just our impact. We're doing modifications to things that are out of date, that aren't there today. Left turn pocket, left turn onto Old Post does not exist today. Part of the level of service decrease is because we're creating a left turn on Old Post. We're not required, that's nothing to do with our site. That's nothing to do with what the impact of our site. It's a safety measure that DOT requires. The signal, if that was an improved signal, that would be just modifying the signal timing rather than replacing the whole signal. So the proportional requirements of the impacts that this developer is doing is much less than the 650,000 they're willing to put in, and I think it's even more now. So you do have to think of that as well. I believe that we are fully mitigating for our impact. It's just the impact that's required for the other two turning movements is affecting us.
But you are putting in a development that is causing these to be required.
So the left turns
Yes. That's what Maine DOT is saying.
done anyways, and will be done as part of the corridor study.
Right,
That is
but
something
if
that
that
is.
impact then causes a level D, then you're responsible for fixing that. At least that's my opinion.
For the lefts coming into our site, not the lefts going into Old Post. That's an existing condition.
Can I ask a question? With the main, the DOT study, would that include any traffic or impact on Old Post Road as far as like upstream merge or like driveways, et cetera? Because that's a pretty heavy residential road. So if you're going to have traffic with a bigger intersection, now traffic coming off of Old Post Road onto Route 1, what is that new impact going to be and what is it going to create? And can DOT include that as part of their study, not just isolate it to Route 1?
Are you talking about the joint study between the town,
Yes.
Southern Maine Planning, and DOT? This is one of the intersections that will be studied, part of that study, so.
Perfect. Will that be congruent with this timeline for this application, or?
They are not congruent.
Okay.
That's where I just don't have the information to give you a good recommendation at that time from that study.
Okay.
But,
Okay,
Quick question.
sure.
The application that you guys submitted to the Maine DOT, that's with this proposal, if it ended up happening where it was a 5-lane design, would you have to reapply to them and
Yep.
kind of go through the whole waiting process again?
Yep.
Okay, I think we have to end it here. Then,
Could I just ask if, as far as the waiver within the side and rear buffer, if we could get a determination on that, because that determines whether we're amending our waiver request for the next time, and I don't want to have to do a 17-day waiver, just submit that. And if there's anything that the planning board would like us to address that for the next meeting. I guess we just need direction on,
Do you want to do a straw poll for the waiver?
yeah,
whether it's required or not.
yeah.
As it relates to the buffer yard in the rear buffer yard?
Well, there was the
rear and
dumpster
side.
issue, and then there was the
The
north,
dumpster's not in the rear.
or the landscaping portion of the dumpster container.
Can I ask a question about that really quick? You had mentioned that as far as a dumpster, the ledge is 20 feet tall, is that correct? Is that after the proposed blasting? Or would that be existing?
That'd be the new grade.
It would be the new, yeah. Right now, I think it's about 14 feet.
Yeah.
And it's closer into the site.
So they're cutting it into the,
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
that was,
Yeah.
okay.
So, like I said, we do have the code enforcement officer's email that I believe was sent to the planning board. I know that
was that just respect to the dumpster, or was it also the buffer yard?
the dumpster doesn't need any relief. It's just the buffer yard.
buffer
It's
yard.
just the ledge face and the gravel within the landscape buffer on the rear and the side.
The one by the septic where I suggested adding a little more landscaping, and then
Yep.
the riprap to catch erosion, I guess, right?
if code enforcement agrees that that buffer in the back is adequate, then I would agree with that.
I don't have a problem with that either, the rest of the board, that particular part of it.
The issue I have is that we have a bunch of waivers, and I feel like we address them one at a time instead of looking at the big picture.
Well,
And,
yeah.
you know, and it,
Yes.
I
I second that. I think a holistic approach is a better way to address this as opposed to rifle shots, trying to pick them off one at a time.
We do have to vote on each waiver.
Yep.
I understand that.
But to have a discussion about, and to be able to look at the whole site
So
and
you'd rather-
understand
Rather
each-
postpone making those decisions at this point.
This
I
is
think the
to,
DOT thing is such a big issue that
Yeah.
we have time to do that,
Yeah.
so.
I think the concern for the applicant is just if they have to redesign.
Understood, I
Okay.
understand.
so it's more of whether we ask for the waiver or not, whether it's a waiver or not. The code enforcement officer has said it's not a waiver, but the review letter says that they think it is, the peer review engineer. So,
Keeping it as an active waiver, and then when we
Let's
get
keep
to it.
Keep it as a waiver then.
okay, so I'll submit it with a waiver and then we can cross it off
Yep.
later if you determine
Yep, yep.
otherwise. Okay.
Okay. Anything else before we? Okay, so,
You did ask one other, is there a way to provide us with a 5-lane design, just to look at it? Or have you guys worked that out at all? I know cost was an issue, but just the actual physical engineering, if it's,
So DOT at this point isn't requiring us to do a 5-lane.
I think our ordinance
This-
might, where it's a,
This development doesn't go forward if it goes to a 5-lane. No development would be, basically it's making this lot unusable going to a 5-lane for the cost. Because nothing will be able to be built there.
and then just one other quick question, the turn-in lane on the north side, was that due to trip count? Was that a requirement to have that extra entrance?
The right turn lane in?
slip lane in.
So during the preliminary, it was determined that that was a good thing to have. The planning board agreed with that.
Yes.
Thank you.
We did.
I didn't know if with removing that, if it was possible to get another lane in.
The state actually likes that too, DOT likes that, because it relieves the pressure on the intersection.
So that's
think
part of the
staff-
DOT's.
I think staff had some concerns as it relates to circulation and what that would cause for a potential point of people coming off the site. There will be issues there at some point, I think. So the site circulation, and under that, I'd like to further discuss that as we move forward.
I agree with that.
I'm sorry, we can't be more specific, but we're just running out of time, and so we'll have to
Continue to a date?
yeah.
Can if we continue to another date, would it be possible to have another hearing to include the other abutters that would be impacted by the possible traffic?
I don't think, my opinion, I don't think we do that, but if they submit new information, then it's perfectly legitimate for us to open up a public hearing regarding the new information.
Okay.
Okay? And that would hopefully cover it. And really, the MDOT study is new information, will be new information for us all, so.
That's a good point.
But we're not required to completely open up the hearing, but with respect to new information. We've had the hearing, we're required to open it if new information comes in on that new information, as I understand it.
Okay.
And again, we'll ask the staff to, in the future, to, if we have to widen that. And if we don't continue it to a date certain, we'll have to be noticed again, right, Dylan?
Correct.
Do we have a date certain? Is there a time when we think that this could be ready?
I
can't answer for DOT, you know.
Yeah. It depends on what DOT says.
I mean, I think we're very close to having the TMP at this point. We have gotten, who were we approved it with, the engineering department that we were approved with DOT? That Jeff Pulver said that we were engineering
Oh,
council?
the engineering council. There's a comment in here about the proposed traffic changes incur a reduction of Route 1's capacity that will require approval from the Maine DOT Engineering Council, in addition to the TMP. We have that approval.
So the council voted to allow the narrowing or the one lane, but that's only allows the TMP to move forward with that. Again, this board the town has the authority, we share that responsibility on Route 1 to require whatever we think is necessary as well. So if we ask for something more, DOT is not going to say no.
I think we have to continue it subsequent, depending on receipt of materials and information, as well as the evaluation from staff and
the
engineering department.
The other engineer with the microfile or whatever they were needing?
Synchrofiles.
Synchrophile.
Yeah. So can we have a motion to continue this plan, continue this application to?
On a receipt of
On
new information?
receipt of all required information?
Is that how, all required information? Okay. I move to continue the application for retail motor fuel outlet, Tropic Star Development, 834 US Route 1, tax map 94, lot 19, to a date after receipt of all information needed to continue. Thank you.
Second.
Okay, moved by Davids, seconded by Crystal. Any other discussion?
Barely moved by David.
Okay, call for a vote. Crystal?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
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 Steve? Yes. Chair votes yes, 5-0. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. It was.
Take a 5-minute break and then get right into the next application. So if anybody in the audience wants to discuss this, please move outside.
I'm assuming
Right? I don't know why I never took it out.
You wield a mean gavel. I'll tell you what,
Let's play pickleball next time.
I think you should bring it. I mean, you'll win every game.
Okay. We're back live and reset. Apologize for the delay, but we next have the mixed-use development for 280, 282, 286 York Street. And if you want to set things up, Dylan, for us, where we are on this?
Sure, thank you. So the developer's coming in for preliminary approval for approximately 8,900 square foot buildings, I guess, but we'll get into that a little bit later. For a site here in York Village, specifically York Village Center 1 District. I think, again, this is for preliminary approval, so that's a higher level conceptual approval for this area. At this point, based on the submittals, and I think you've seen it in the review, this proposed mixed-use development, it appears to have enough information for the board to begin that preliminary review process. Unless you have any further questions on that, I think there's enough to begin review.
Okay. Someone like to make a motion?
One item.
Sure.
Before the motion. In site and sub, section 6314B, it said if there was a significant historic item found, or in the event historic or archaeological resources identified, that there should be an analysis accompanying the application. I don't know with the existing house on the lot if that triggers it. I know that it wasn't in a historic zone per se, but the HDC did say it was a significant
structure. Yeah,
So
I
I'm
think
just seeing if that triggered that item or not.
typically we look at those things for archaeological resources when you're doing
Like
site work. or if
cemeteries
there's
kind of
known-
things?
Yeah, if there's
Okay.
known, and you've seen it on prior GIS maps where they have it in general, where we've
marked out
areas of significant archaeological resources. Now, is the building an archaeological or?
Historic resource?
It's not in ours, it's not a designated historic site, it's not a in a historic district. It's in a federal historic, but doesn't really trigger this.
Okay.
And I
That was
don't
just my
believe it's
question I had.
a federal historic landmark either, so it's a question we can come up to later maybe, but I don't think it
For completeness.
prevents acceptance of
Okay.
this.
Would you like me to make a
Just
motion?
to save time, yes,
Yeah.
go ahead and.
Move to accept the application for the mixed-use development for Jojo La Casa LLC for preliminary review, located at 280, 282, 286 York Street, tax map 50, lots 118, 119, and 120.
Second.
Okay, been moved by David, second by Gail. Any discussion? Call for vote. Crystal?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Yes.
And Stephen?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, 5-0. Okay, do you want to introduce yourself and give an overview of it, knowing that we have not as much
Try to
time?
make it quick so that we can get into comments and talk about the project. So we've been here for sketch a while ago, a year ago. We submitted the preliminary application for this.
Oh, you got to
Your mic.
turn it on.
Yeah, we submitted the.
Could you please
Oh, yeah.
introduce yourself?
Yeah, sorry. Jeff Oliva, Civil Consultants, representing the applicant here for this project. We previously had a sketch plan. We submitted an application package back in May to get on the agenda here in August for preliminary review. So what the project we have here are 3 lots on York Street. They total about 1.6 acres when you combine the area. They include the Bagel Basket building and the Village Scoop building. The proposed development is to redevelop the site, keep the Village Scoop building as it is, construct a 10,467 square foot building around and behind the Village Scoop building, removing the Bagel Basket structure, and adding associated parking and infrastructure and stormwater around the site to be able to address the building. The building itself is proposed to have 24 residential units that range from studios, 1-bedroom, and 2-bedroom units. And on the first floor, since it's a mixed-use area in the village, has to have commercial uses on that first floor. One of those commercial uses will be the relocation of the Bagel Basket from its current location into the new building on that area. As I mentioned, we've kind of gone through and made some revisions. I have had meetings with Brendan and town staff to look at the building and look at some tweaks to some of the parking and tweaks to some of the areas to be able to provide some additional public area on the front of the building, at the front of the site. And we've done that, and I don't know which set of the plans the board has. I had issued an updated set in July to the town to look at that, but I can show it on the board as we move forward through the discussion. This property here will then also continue to have the connection to the bridge that goes to the library. That bridge is on library town land on that area, and that bridge was recently refurbished about a year or 2 ago. I know that because I was part of it and helped Peter Smith with the design of the retrofit for the railings and the decking. But as we move forward here, there's a couple questions that came up in Chris's memo that we received early this week that we need to discuss tonight. One of them is traffic and how that's reviewed.
I'm going to ask you to pause right now because we need to make a decision on public hearings since this is the first preliminary. Technically, we could schedule a public hearing within 30 days, but usually we try to do it at the same time. So shall we do that and then get this out of the way?
Sure.
I apologize, we're giving you such short time here. Hopefully, we'll be able to get you on as soon as possible. And I hope that if we have time, that I assume, Dean, you have some comments on traffic or so forth that you could discuss later?
Yes.
Okay. Then, shall we have a motion to open the public hearing?
I move to open the public hearing for the mixed-use development at 280, 282, 286 York Street, tax map 50, lots 118, 119, and 120.
Second.
Okay, moved by David, seconded by Gail. Any discussion? All right, call for vote. Crystal?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Yes.
And chair votes yes, 5-0. Is there anybody that would like to step forward? And, yes, sir. As you know the drill, name, can we move that easel out of the way a little bit?
You sure? Yeah. Francis Riley, Reilly. My house is on 5 Fellows Lane, which is the little lane that goes up right across from the Bagel Basket. And I actually use Williams Ave more because I have a driveway on that side. I'm a longtime resident here. I developed 273 and 279 York Street, remodeled those. Very familiar with Sean and the business that he's run there. And I'm not saying that
he doesn't have the right to do it or anything. I think the building looked great, and I wish him all the luck. But we have a problem in town with the delivery vehicles starting in front of Burgers for Cumberland Farms, and then as you go up to the rest of the restaurants, particularly where now we have the Village Scoop. And if we're going to have a larger building there with residents above, I would just like to make sure that you people require delivery space to be in part of the parking area in the back, rather than having vehicles parked along the side of the road and creating traffic hazards coming out of Williams Ave, Fellows Lane, any of the driveways, businesses, when that takes place. I sent an email today, and I think some of you have a copy of it, that has some photos that I took in the last couple months when I've been around. And just see something egregious parked in a no parking zone, and delivery truck there for half an hour, 40 minutes. There's enough traffic coming out of the hospital, no left turn that lane there. You can't see. So just something that should be addressed in the overall plan, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am. At long last.
Yes.
Well, Nancy Chico, last name is spelled C-I-C-C-O. I live at 7 Indian Creek, Unit 11. It's about a quarter of a mile away from this site. I drive this road every day. First of all, I think the height and the mass of the building is way too big. The building, as shown, overwhelms the Village Scoop and diminishes its charm, which I think is unfortunate, because I think those owners do a good job with that business. I'm not convinced we need 24 housing units there. I am for housing. I like the plan, the condo plan on Woodbridge. But again, I think this is too small a lot for that many units. I don't think they should get a waiver to build a building larger than the 7,000 square feet allowed. I guess that may come up later. The back of the property is wet. I think everybody knows that. Again, I don't know why they want a waiver to put in a 12-inch drainage pipe instead of a 15-inch when they know that the back of the property is wet. And finally, I don't know why you would want to demolish a historic building. Granted, it may not be in the historic district, but the building dates to 1760. The federal conservationists are concerned. And I think if you take down that building, you lose a lot of the character of the village. The applicant has benefited from the charm of that building where that business has been for, I think, 20 years. I don't know why he would want to deprive the rest of the town the charm of that building, frankly. And I am for the York Village District revitalization. I look forward to that with the new sidewalks and the fixed curbing and the focus on retail. I just don't know that the mass of this building works with that plan. Maybe it does, maybe you can find a way to do it, but I would urge all of you to work with conservationists and the applicant to come up with something that's a little more reasonable and a little more in keeping with the character of the village, because once you tear down a historic building like that, it's gone. Once you put up buildings this big, a mass this big on that size lot, it's destroyed. And we all live here, we all love to live here, we all live here because of the historic nature of the town and the charm of the town, and I just want to see that preserved. The building's going to outlast all of us, so, you know, you get, if you destroy it, it's gone. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak? Okay, see no other hands. Without objection, I'll close the public hearing. So ordered. And I guess best thing, well, let's, if we could, go out of order if we have to. Maybe we don't even have to. And make use of Dean's presence here if we want to talk about traffic or traffic design or parking, that general topic. Can we let's see, where would that be?
Number 5, page 5 of Chris's review. I think you're on the first application.
Oh,
I could only
Had
tell
it
by
right in
all
front,
colors.
had it right in front of me. Okay.
So Chris's comment was if the question of it triggering another section of review or a more intense study, is that what I was getting by his?
Yes, Jeff, on that comment on, talking about number 5 at the bottom of page 5.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to really go through these all in fine detail since we did get these comments on Monday. But we looked at the, our interpretation with the traffic study and the traffic review was looking at the fact that the 2 businesses that are on the property now are going to stay. Bagel Basket is predominantly AM to lunchtime. Village Scoop is in the afternoon, and there's very little overlap on that. We had provided indication in the plans, provisions where we'd go talk about parking. We know that past experience working on parking is an issue for residential issues or residential buildings down in the village. So we made sure that we had an accommodation for at least 1 space for the 1 bedrooms and studios and 2 spaces dedicated for the 2 bedrooms. We have that is indicated on our plan, and then the remainder would be then shared with parking that's available on site, roughly 33 spaces, and then in combination of spaces along the road, and then public spaces that are adjacent to the library and the walkable area of the village to be able to come in to the Bagel Basket in the morning and to any other businesses that take over the remaining space in the building itself. So we looked at what, the new impact would be to be able to accommodate that and look at what the parking and having that threshold be of what's the addition from the historic parking on site or traffic on site to what's new. And that being new would be potentially probable office space, maybe it will be retail on the first floor. It really has to be something in the beginning, in the front, in the back can be some office space. And then the residential area and looking at the traffic for that. So I guess my feeling was, and we did an analysis and the peer engineer, Gore Palmer, the new entity, had some comments, and we started working on the revisions back to them to have them have a secondary review of our traffic counts, because they did have some questions. And glad to try to answer any questions that Dean has regarding the project as well.
One of the comments was having to do with, right now, the uses, as you mentioned, don't overlap so much. And the uses in the new part of the building could be designated as office or whatever, but what would happen if those uses changed? Would you expect to have to come back to the planning board for a different use? Let's say turning an office space into
Yeah, I mean, I think that comes down to looking at, and typically I know that some of those changes of uses happen in the code office reviews that impact of traffic and impact of parking predominantly is what they're looking at on this area. Again, we're in the village area. It's a slower road on York Street, or it should be a slower road on York Street to be able to accommodate that access in and out of the parking lot. These uses are a little hard to get an actual fit in the ITE manual for the use itself, because they don't have, these uses, they have a coffee shop, but they have a drive-through, and they don't really have a walk-up area, and it's hard to pick a use that fits that well. And they don't have an ice cream shop that, to fit in there. It'd be great if they did. But we're trying to manipulate, and look at the numbers of what's realistic and what goes on here. And we come onto a road that we know is a slow-moving road, it is in the village. There's will be a better walkable area in the future, that we feel that maybe there are, the trips per day or whatever they are going to be acceptable to fit into this area where we're not, it's not like the case before us where we're turning onto a high-speed highway. This is a slower village area with a parking lot, coming out of that space. But a change of use, typically if it fits within the allowed areas, we'd go to code and review that, and then if they deemed that they needed further review, would come back to the board for discussion.
There are a number of issues that we'll be talking about over time, but again, while we've got Dean here, can we get your input on issues that you'd like us to pay special attention to as we review this?
Sure. First of all, starting with parking, right? This project is in the Phase 2 part of the York Village Revitalization Project. So I just want to make sure it's consistent, and I've been working with Jeff on the Bristol projects to do that. The key is, well, one of the issues here is that the building's changing from what we initially had gone through the planning phases for the village project, where the entrances are moving. But the idea back then, or the intent, was to try to get parallel on-street parking as much as we could, not just for these businesses, but for the whole village in totality. So I think there may be some space just past their entrance to the west of it that we can add on-street parking there for a couple of spots that we can look at in through this process. The other thing is trip generation, the traffic. Typically residential units don't generate a lot of traffic. It's people coming and going 1 or 2 trips a day. It's the commercial entities that tend to generate the traffic increases. What I'm reading here from our Long Creek, Long Meadow planning is that when I see numbers of 176 trips in the peak hour, anything over 100 needs a TPM from the state of Maine. So if that's correct, then there's going to be an additional process they have to go through Maine DOT, similar to the project we just talked about earlier. That could be wrong, I just don't know.
Answered his question, or his point. When you evaluate that, do you or don't you look at current use and look at the additional use, or do you start from scratch and just say, how many trips is it going to generate?
It would be new trips. So the existing trips from the Bagel Basket or the Village Scoop wouldn't be counted. Those are already there. It's new trips. So the 24 residential units, the new commercial spaces in the new building, that's what they would do the trip generation on. And, I don't disagree with Jeff that the ice cream shop maybe trip heavy on one end of the day versus the other, but it's the ITE trip generation manual is what we use. And I'm not sure they distinguish. They have a land use code for ice cream shop or whatever commercial business is going to be there. And they have an AM and a PM peak, and that's what gets added in. We can't fine tune it per se, that it's only open from this time of day to that time of day. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I would ask, like any other project, that the trip generation be done and submitted to me so I can review it based on their proposed land use codes. And if that triggers, if that goes over 100 trips, then their first step is, or the next step is to Maine DOT to apply for a traffic movement permit. If it's under 100 trips, then it stays local, and then we deal with it on our own.
And we'll work with Dean on that, and also Goral Palmer until I can remember their new name.
Yeah.
Working with Randy to go through this and get up those answers addressed, those questions addressed.
Okay. Thank you for your input.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Then, shall we go back and kind of work through some of these comments in the review?
Yep, I think that, the number one comment that seems to be brought up into into the review is the discussion about the 7,000 square foot building in the zone, per building on a lot in the York Beach, or York Village 1 zone. When we first started to take a look at this, we met with town staff and we had some conversations, and we looked at a way to come up with some provisions using the ordinance and the allowances in the ordinance to be able to construct a larger building that will be on 2 lots, but it's connected. The ordinance footnotes allow that to be connected, provided that there's review by the fire department and the code office. We've previously provided, with our sketch plan information, letters from the code office and information from the fire chief, that if we address their provisions on the plans and in the design, that they were acceptable with the fact of this building being connected and larger, ultimately larger, but connected with a 0 setback along that line of the building. What that does, and what that allows for us to do on this site is, again, we're not building a building that's 14,000 square feet. We're building a building that's 10,460, whatever it is. But what that does is that allows for economy of construction, allows for us to have 1 elevator that services all floors, 1 sprinkler system that services all the buildings with the right connections and the right details, working with the fire department. And that is the only change that we're looking at, or being able to be constructive or inventive in the ordinance based on the allowances that are there. It was discussed, and I guess, and if I'm misinterpreting it, Dylan, from the history, you can kind of talk back, but when the zoning was changed, everybody thought that a 7,000 square foot building would be big enough in these areas, because some of these are smaller lots, and that would work on those areas. Not thinking that there could be an owner that owns these 3 lots that could combine them to be able to look at that. What we've tried to design here is something that would fit into the village, keeping the village scoop building. I know we're getting rid of the Bagel Basket building that has been covered up over the years. The owner is willing to give the building to whoever wants it, or whoever wants to take parts of it out of the way as this process moves forward. But looking at that 7,000 square foot allowance in the zone per lot is how we derive coming through here with the innovative property line that goes through that to allow us to have a 0 setback, have the buildings be connected, because the 2 owners do agree, they're the same owner, and allows us to meet all the other side setbacks that we have for those lots.
It is inventive.
Yeah.
It is unique.
And that's why we made sure that we went through the code office to get their input, and also the fire department to get their input before we proceeded with that.
Was there a way to address the 15-foot max front setback on that?
So if we have it, we've got a 15-foot front setback on the front of the building on the 1 lot.
Right.
Then we also have the building that's the village scoop is within, in that 15-foot square, that 15-foot building. I'm unsure if all buildings need to have a 15-foot max setback. We have that on the lot for the village scoop, and we have that for the building that would be on the lot to the right.
As far
Lot
as
1 and Lot 2.
the intent of the setback and the road feel, I feel like it's being accomplished.
I do too. I think with the building kind of wrapping around the back side of the village scoop, it has that frontage. One of the comments that was brought up when I met with Brendan, was talking about a way to break up the buildings so they look different. The package you have, I don't know if it shows it, but what we've done here on the sheets here, I've had the architect go through and make some color changes. splitting the building, doing different color change, doing different aspect of the commercial on the first floor for the building, I'll call it the back side of the wing, and then having a different feel, color, frontage colors on the commercial side and the residential side on the building on the right that does front up on to York Street. So we did kind of look at that to be able to break it up. But the feeling here is being able to have that, you have that appearance of the big building fronting on the street in the village, which is the intent of the ordinance change, to be able to have everything out in front. And then to reduce the massing of it, it blends as it moves back further away and as it goes around the backside of the village scoop, where we now have another area for outdoor eating on that side behind in that kind of little pocket park. We've moved some of the pavement around to be able to have other public areas out in front along the northern side near the driveway. Moved and reconfigured the parking a little bit to swing it out to give us more green space up in that northwest corner of the property. So those are the things that we looked at when we were kind of conceiving the plan and the design and trying to make it in the conformance with the max setbacks, the 7,000 square foot area, and then working around those provisions.
So the front of, excuse me, the front of the buildings B, the businesses B and C would be, the front would be on the side, and the other one, the front would be on the back.
Well, it'd be more of in the corners. We've got a front that you can see on this sheet. I'm going to take the microphone. So this would be one commercial space out here on the front. And as we go to the second page, you see we've tried to change some renderings on this area to be able to look at the different commercial space areas and different colors coming into the spaces on the backside. So the bagel basket, if I go to the, I don't have a, so here's York Street down here. We have a commercial space on this side. Bagel basket would enter and take over this unit on this edge. Parking on this side, access on this side. When we get to the site plan, we can talk about how we envision the flow for parking through the space. And then this would be the back area that would be open to office space. It meets that area where it's tucked behind, it's not in the front, but this would have another option for that space.
Oh, so the front,
yeah.
the York Street side wouldn't be the bagel basket?
Yeah, the York Street side is the bagel basket, yes, in this alcove on the building.
Behind the village.
Behind the
scoop.
village.
Yeah.
More in the courtyard area than the
Oh, yeah.
than the York Street frontage itself.
Right.
There, go to the site plan. So the bagel basket would be in this area here. So we have people coming in here and knowing that the bagel basket and the village scoop kind of have a high turnover of that. We wanted to be able to have safe one-way access around here so people can see, pedestrians can see. If somebody parks in here, they run over into the bagel basket. There's opportunity for eating in here. We have made some room to have outdoor seating in this side, and then we moved parking around to be able to make this area larger up along this edge. But this would then have an opportunity for whatever the use is, another restaurant, whatever retail, whatever fits in here. Back area would be most likely office space, and then this is the bagel basket on this side. Similar to the bagel basket is back tucked here, or they have a window on the side. There'd be no more window on the side. It'd be, everything would be inside the building.
The entrance for the office space, where would that be?
We'll probably come out through the back on this side, in through here. There'd be a center corridor, elevator would be here. Sprinkler system would be back into here to be able to have easy access for the fire department and working that way. And then what we looked at is having the spaces for residents in the back, because they're going to be there, and then use this area as the commercial area for the high turnover stuff for the Bagel Basket and the Village Scoop and whatever happens. And then looking at the public comment, and Dylan shared the email with me from the abutter, working on an area and looking up where we can have some dedicated delivery space and look at that, and maybe these spaces here are temporarily during certain hours are dedicated as delivery to get that truck off of here. There's still plenty of room for them to turn around, still allows people opportunity to come through this way. Again, we have the access, pedestrian access back here to the bridge, to the library parking, and as we know, people park here and walk into the Bagel Basket currently. And then this allows the continued access through the sidewalk on York Street.
Will you be able to get to the bridge, the pedestrian thing, without crossing through a lot of parking spaces?
Well, what they would do, if they're going to go to York Street, they'll come through here, they'll cross over this way to this sidewalk and then walk that way. Or, people are going to take the shortest thing, they'll walk through the parking lot like they do now, which doesn't have any definition in that area, in that giant gravel area for that.
Is the Bagel Basket planning to expand their current operations?
No, I think they're just going to have more opportunity in here for what they'll probably have some seats inside, and then they'll still have seats outside.
And the seats outside, are those for is that mixed use for residents as well
We were talking about maybe having an area back here for residents, because I've got this space that we could use maybe a small patio, or they could use this as opportunity on that side, and then back here, we were looking at making sure that there was an opportunity for the Village Scoop to come through and have access.
Thank you. And on the back lot, is there any concern for flooding of those parking spots?
No,
Possibly
we're
losing
up
them?
above where the creek is in the wetlands on this side. We're up above that elevation on here. We have a stormwater detention pond that's built into the pavement that will come in and accept the flow before it discharges out.
Where are the handicap parking spots?
I have handicap parking spaces here, and I have a handicap parking space here.
Is that for the residents?
There will be one here for the residents, and then there's two here for the uses of the restaurants.
And turning radiuses have been confirmed by the fire?
Yeah, we've put turning templates on that, and I think one of the backup sheets has that, or we've done that in-house to show that the fire truck and a delivery truck can make it around.
How big is the elevator?
That's going to be the size that's going to be able to fit a stretcher.
That was going to be,
Yeah.
that's not where I was going with that.
Well, they have, I don't think we have a choice with that anymore, so
Yeah.
I think they all have to be that size.
Yep. No, that's good to hear.
So for the residences, there's a stairwell that empties into the courtyard and another stairwell that goes into the back, out the back?
Yep. Then they can use whichever way they want to go. Yep. Yeah, so we got the stairways for emergency exit outs on the sides, and then the elevator that comes down, and we'll have pathways that go out to the courtyard in the front and the back.
Kind of looks on the diagram that on the first floor, the connection between the stairwells is separated from the commercial units, is that correct?
They're probably, again, these are conceptual still plans to be worked through. This was kind of try to get a layout. This will probably change as we come through on here. So this would come in, there'd be doors in here, probably come in off of these corridors to get in and get through that way. And imagine there's gonna be some more, we got some more doors out back here to take out the kitchen out to the dumpster and things like that.
Okay.
Where is the dumpster located? Sorry to make you.
No, that's fine. I'll just stand there. The dumpster that is tucked up, right up in here.
Okay. And then what's the plans for snow removal?
We've got snow removal it's tight, like all sites around here, but we've got snow removal and other stuff that doesn't fit has to be trucked off site.
Okay, good.
That's how it goes. Yeah.
Keep pushing till you can't push and then haul it
Yeah,
off.
and haul it off, yeah.
Other questions, anybody?
I guess my biggest question that I have is, The two owners are the same person? Is that what you said?
For,
For the
for, oh,
lots.
for the lots? Yeah, the same owner owns all 3 lots.
Same owner owns all 3 lots. So what's
So,
this?
so that right now, they're currently 3 historic lots.
The applicant is suggesting that the proposed building be treated as 2 buildings.
I think Chris is interpreting it that it needs to be 2 separate owners, but it doesn't necessarily, how I read it, it didn't feel that way.
Okay, okay, yeah, I got the
I thought it's
impression they
because
were.
Village Scoop is one owner, but then Bagel Basket is another owner.
Yeah, it was like you can agree to a party wall, is
Yeah.
that T section?
Right, yeah, the whole intent at the time, and I'll admit this is a creative way of looking at it for sure, but, the whole purpose and intent was, when we did the original rezoning, was to look at an average of building footprints within the village, take kind of a high medium of the existing building footprints within the village. When you look at this library, the library is the biggest at 12,000 square feet. And then we kind of went down and we did this analysis, the board did anyway with staff, and 7,000 for an individual building footprint seemed fair and fairly conservative to move forward. The whole idea and concept is, if you think about downtowns and allowing, say, Portsmouth or any of those downtowns to join buildings and be a parting wall or something like that, to allow that to occur, to allow that. But you can kind of see it as separate buildings. It has that feel, it has that concept. And the idea was to look at existing landowners who might have a smaller building footprint and the owner next door, and they can expand their existing building footprint and adjoin or close to, that would be something that would be permissible as long as the fire chief signed off, and et cetera, et cetera. Did we envision something like this? Not necessarily. So I think, you know, for me, when you look at the floor plan, does it feel like 2 buildings? It seems like it's not 2 buildings. It's 1 building. And I get what Jeff's saying, and I appreciate that. And I think at some point, the board's probably going to evaluate the footprint standard than the village itself at some point, I dare I say. But I think from my standpoint, it is to get clarification from town attorney on this, based on their proposal, just so we all feel good. I know they've met with Code, they've met with Brendan, and talked it through a little bit. And for me, I feel like it's not insurmountable to do this idea or this concept. For me, it's more about the circulation, the public space, and how does that look with the 2-building look? Does that still come through? Does it still, and Jeff's pointing out in some of those architecturals that it might still come through as a 2-building look, but I think the board needs to feel comfortable in that intent. Again, purpose and intent. Did it come through in the ordinance? Oh, you can't plan it all out every time, but we tried to get there. So I would recommend the board get town attorney's opinion on this for clarification. The applicant could be very well right in what they're proposing, but I just want to that's kind of where I settle.
As far as, you know, you're splitting it in 2 properties, but the same owner of each. Well, on a regular conventional one, there's nothing that says that they have to be different owners that own abutting buildings. So it does seem kind of weird when you put it that way, but you probably couldn't prevent that from happening, because somebody could just buy the next door one. But it doesn't, the whole 15-foot setbacks thing just doesn't quite fit to this kind of thing, so I think.
Yeah, the 15-foot max, in my opinion, doesn't, but if that courtyard, you mentioned courtyard, public space, public pathways to the library, public amenities, the board should look at that as you're meeting the intent of that section. If you're providing those public amenities within the site to move the buildings back, and I think we want to promote that anyways for good circulation in the village, good pedestrian connection and connectivity, safe pedestrian connectivity to, you know, some of these back ways to get around. And we know there's another future development that's proposed too on the other side. how can we make these really cool connections through the village where maybe the public's not walking on the, granted, I know Dean, the new village
sidewalks.
revitalized, brand new sidewalks, but maybe there are other alternatives that are safe and just draw to these businesses that these landowners are putting in anyway. I think we want to ensure that that's occurring, and I think we're heading in that direction, but we just need to refine some things on this proposal.
Yeah, no, we're willing to sit down with Dylan and Brendan and talk about that and
think-
brainstorm about making some changes and looking at how that works.
I think if Mary weighs in, it wouldn't hurt, just
No, I think it would be helpful.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, that
At
would
least on
help. That would help with a direction.
we are at 10:06.
Thank you.
I had a couple like preference items for me, but they are in our scope of review for like massing and architectural kind of things.
Yeah.
Just to kind of throw my preference out there on that. One was the dormer on the front of
Yeah.
the building. I've seen some, it is New Englandy, but I don't know if it's like colonial New Englandy versus having the large center dormer. If you go look at some older buildings, there's like 4 little doghouse dormers instead. I know that kind of changes what could happen interior, but
yeah.
as you're proposing removing a historic building, if we could at least tie in some architectural buffs into the newer building, that would be my preference on that. And then the other big item I see possibly coming down the road would be the removal of the current building. I did see HDC weighing in, but I'm not sure where we stand with that. I haven't been on the board where that issue's come up, so I don't know what our responsibility is with that.
It's kind of out of our control.
Yeah, Article 12, there's delay ordinance that I think it's up to 60 days, but that's about it.
Yeah, and we're just starting that process to go
Okay.
to them.
I think the board might want HDC comment just on maybe architectural, because there's some language in 6.1 about that the board might find helpful in their determination of, architectural appropriateness and whatnot.
There was a section that, I forget what it was, but it gave us a little bit of say-so if we can preserve some of it. For instance, if it was like a historic front door or something like that, that'd be brought over. I'm not saying it is on that
Yeah,
building.
no,
Or if like the mantle inside or something like that.
Reclaimed.
Yeah, and migrated into the new building to kind of keep some of that character in town. I brought up during the sketch review that, yes, it's an old building, there's historic construction in there, but after you drill 1,000 holes in an old building, what's really left of the historic value? And that's where my knowledge of the building stops. It could be the most pristine architectural relic, or is.
Well, I think you've seen it. It's, the windows have been replaced. It's got vinyl siding on it.
It's been moved once, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it does have nice character in the town, so it's not a small thing just to
Yep.
make it disappear, but.
You're right, the mantle, the wide floorboards, there's some stuff there that's probably worth preserving for somebody.
Right.
I won't miss the low ceilings.
No, exactly, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, and like I said, Sean is willing to, give the building to whoever wants it. They want to take parts out of it when it's time to go, we can have it. Yeah. It's not gonna go in a dumpster.
Right.
The residential, the apartments upstairs, is there consideration for them to be like affordable housing or?
I think looking at the concept currently with I don't know about affordable housing, but them having a large percentage of studio in one bedroom would bring the rents down, or however that works.
By default, it's less, but they will be condos, is that correct?
Well, to be determined. Most likely, yes, condos, but when we first started, we were talking rentals. Now it may be condos, so there's the back and forth on that. Yeah.
it would be nice to have HDC to weigh in a little bit more toward the board for us, or they go through the review process with them.
At least regarding the new building, you mean?
Yeah, the new building.
Design.
I think it is, sorry, Wayne, as it relates to 6.1.12 and 6.1.12.1, I think those are your review characteristics, but it talks about the proposed building as it relates to existing buildings and its vicinity, and there's historic district, there's sort of, it's probably a good idea to get their feedback on the architectural elements of, and massing on that. So I can email certainly the chair and maybe Scott, sorry, it's getting late. Is it
Jeff.
past 10 o'clock? Jeff. Jeff might want to get, yeah, I've only seen him here for 12 years, so anyway. So, yeah, so I think maybe that'd be a good idea if that's set up. I don't know if Jeff would be
Yep.
to
be able to do that
get
process.
that.
Yep.
And
get
then one
those
last thing
comments.
that I thought of when you're talking about the courtyard, I'm sure you've taken into consideration the back of the Village Scoop building looking presentable for public circulation.
Yeah, exactly. That's
propane
part,
tanks
yeah,
and stuff
exactly.
relocated.
Yep. Yeah, and that's part of that, obviously, we
Facelift
want that
area.
new building and people to have that interior area and reworking that space. Yep.
I mean, clearly, this would all be less complicated if you just tore down the Village Scoop. But I can see why the owner wouldn't want to lose a valuable
Yeah.
tenant, because I don't think there's probably a lot of historic value in that building.
No,
But again, I can understand why. It's going to be tough enough living through construction if this goes forward.
Can we go back to the traffic study really quick? There was mention that it was hard because you can't exactly categorize the operations of the Bagel Basket because of what they do and don't have as far as like a drive-through window.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Village Scoop, but if they are under the same roof, would the hours of operation be considered? So for example, the Bagel Basket opens at 6 a.m., but then you have Village Scoop, there's probably some overlap of hours.
there's a
and then-
little bit of overlap.
And
Yep.
then the Village Scoop closes at 9 p.m.? Yes, he's nodding. So then would those hours of operation be considered in that traffic study?
Yeah, and what I need to do is go through that with our traffic engineer. This first stab was done in-house with us, looking at that. Now, getting the comments from Dean and peer review, now I gotta talk to John Adams and have him give me guidance.
Thank you.
One of the comments was that the opening, the driveway opening, could be narrower.
Yeah, we talked about that. Dean mentioned that to me a little bit in another conversation that we had. We've squeezed it a little bit, but we still want to keep it wide enough because of us creating the green space up in that northwest corner. I still want to have enough room for turning of the trucks coming through that.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah. Being able to make that wraparound turn to head north on York Street. You know, a truck coming out and then heading south on York Street towards the beach is going to be fine. It's making that then curve around loop heading back north towards Town Hall.
Okay. I think I'd mentioned before to ask you to consider, would it make sense to have a raised sidewalk across the entrance to that driveway?
We looked at that and we'll look at it some more. Yeah.
I'd read about it, but I hadn't thought about there being any in York, but actually there is one in the York Beach, Ellis Park parking lot between the bathhouse and the boardwalk.
Yeah.
There's a raised
Yep.
sidewalk there, and it's gentle enough so that it's not a problem, but it tells the driver this is a pedestrian area, not just a crosswalk marking, but I don't know whether it would cause a problem with stormwater or anything like that, but just something to consider. I don't know, do you run into, Dean, have you,
Like a tabletop?
yeah, run into that?
The new sidewalk, the new sidewalk on the seawall is completely raised, and we ramp down for pedestrians. It's not for vehicle traffic, but it's a similar type of thing, right? You keep the sidewalk higher, you ramp up to it and ramp down.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. During construction, parking spaces will be eliminated. Where, so if someone were to visit the Bagel Basket or
Yep.
Village Scoop,
Yep.
where's proposed parking during the construction?
Yeah, we'll have to work through that and make sure that there's scheduling to make that accessible for the businesses.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And
'Cause I
the
presume
owners-
deliveries would be
The
in
owner's cognizant of that and doesn't want to interrupt the flow for either business during that time. Obviously, the Bagel Basket building is going to go away, so they're looking at what do we do during that time? And how does that work moving forward?
Okay. Do you know if it'd be practical to limit delivery vehicles to, I think they call them WB-40?
I need to talk to the suppliers. I know that's, saw the photos that were presented to Dylan, forwarded to me, and I think you guys will see them if you haven't seen them already. Some of the delivery trucks our delivery services are going to those smaller ones because they're realizing that they're coming from Portland and Portsmouth, and there's not enough room for a bigger truck. But I'll have to double check. I'll check with the owner and see what his delivery trucks are. I saw that one of the photos looked like one of his delivery trucks was right across the street, was one of the smaller trailers, but I don't know if they all are.
Yeah,
I see, down in South Berwick where our office is, we've got Nature's Way. I come into work at 6:30, the tractor trailer for the grocery deliveries, right there, taking up all the spots on that. But that's how it goes, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if the Cumberland Farm still gets those big ones too,
Yeah,
but
they do.
Oh, yeah.
it's a problem,
Yeah.
And as you say, I think that you see more and more. I've noticed since we ran into this with the previous application, York Beach, and I've noticed more and more, I think there's more and more of those 40-foot long, rather than the tractor trailers being used for deliveries.
Yeah, and what I see too is restaurants that are right on Main Street in South Berwick, is that they're getting deliveries a couple times a day in the smaller refrigerated box trucks that are like the UPS size, and they're just getting more, and they're not dragging around the trailers because there aren't too many good tractor trailer drivers around that can back up something that gets pinched in a spot or goes down the wrong alleyway and now is stuck.
But certainly, the comment earlier about, we don't want them on York Street is certainly pertinent.
Yep.
Now, any other?
Then continue it to a future date and gives you, Jeff, time to review the review and take another crack at it.
Yes.
I think talk about the waivers at another time. They're all pretty straightforward.
And I think
most of them were supported by staff.
I think any effort made to bring the looks of the place, the historic feel of the place, as has been mentioned, wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the back needs some work.
I like that there's a lot of glass, and that's not historic, but on the back I don't have a problem with glass on the back.
Yeah, I just think it needs to be.
More detail?
More detail, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
Would you like a motion?
yes.
What's it, a date uncertain? To a future date.
To a future date.
There we go. I move to continue the mixed-use development for Jojo La Casa LLC, 280, 282, and 286 York Street, tax map 50, lots 118, 119, and 120, to a future date upon submission of new material and comments.
Second?
Okay, moves by David, seconded by Crystal. Any other comment? Okay, call for a vote. Crystal?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Neil?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, 5-0. Okay, we'll see you in.
Soon.
We
See
When do we see you?
you in
Next one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks.
You can have it if you'd like.
Thanks for your patience tonight.
Yes.
I'll reach out to you and we'll sit down and talk about that. No, definitely remember square.
Thank you to everyone in the audience for sticking out the long meeting.
Yeah, that's why I looked at it too.
Just FYI, there's a partial lunar eclipse tonight.
Oh,
Probably
very
good
nice.
viewing down the beach if it's clear.
Oh, see, it worked out.
You can go home, go there, and then go home and go to bed. Like yours truly is going to.
Do we have any other business?
Findings of fact.
Finding of fact.
Oh, findings of fact.
Seems
Bog Road.
pretty
Hog Road.
minimal.
This one should be.
I went over it and didn't see anything.
Have a good night.
The only question I had was, when we were talking about it with them, during the
Thank you.
discussion, sometimes they talked about one building versus two buildings. This states one, and I just want to clarify that it's only one building, because we did, when we kind of wrapped up the meeting with the discussion, somebody said, is this two? And they said two.
Well-
This is clearly one.
Okay, you may be right. There was a set, there was the restroom by the ball field.
Yeah.
And then they were winterizing inside the workshop
Yeah,
for a second one.
a connection from
restroom.
that, a restroom connection from
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
But the building was the addition on the snack shack.
yeah.
So I'm just, I mean,
Yep, yep.
so my only question about the finding of facts was, it's not really clear
Mm-hmm.
that that's what the scope of the project is.
Where do you see that?
But
section?
when they were, with the explanation, sorry,
Description.
I've got to
The top.
pull it up.
Yep.
Yeah, at the top, and they said it's 11 by 20 or whatever.
Okay.
Oh,
I just want to make sure that what we're, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, otherwise, this is pretty clear. I mean, the whole thing is pretty clear, but
And to
does
pro-
there need to be any kind of further explanation?
Maybe, and to provide interconnection to existing facilities?
yeah. Does that make it clear, Gail?
Yeah.
Because it was,
And provide, so it'd be under that description of proposed uses. I'm just for patience and everybody involved.
Was findings of fact, so she doesn't
But she does the minutes, and that's what,
does the minutes.
so I just want to make it clear that, so it would be add a section to that proposed construction of 11 by 20 bathroom facility. This is on page 1 of 6. And associated subsurface wastewater disposal. What could we add to that? So it'd be proposed construction of an 11 by 20 bathroom and connection with an existing
facilities,
building.
yeah. Because it was the stadium had a hand wash sink, I believe. There was a concession stand there.
Oh, and connection with existing facilities on the site,
Right.
as well as associated subsurface wastewater disposal.
That's right, there was two other facilities.
What was it? And the Parks and Rec garage area.
Right,
Right.
that's right.
That's right. That's right, there was two others.
One, yeah.
11 by 20 bathroom facility and connection with existing facilities on the site.
Yeah.
And the associated subsurface wastewater disposal system. Is
Good
that
point.
okay?
That captures all the,
Okay. Hope you got that patience. and YouTube.
Okay.
And so you can approve, if that's the only thing, that could be
That's
an
the only thing I
amendment.
had.
Amendment to the.
as amended.
As amended, yeah.
Question, and I feel like this has come up before and I don't remember. I was not present during this meeting. I don't think I can vote on this, correct?
You can.
Oh, I can.
If you, as long as you reviewed the meeting, all the meeting materials, preferably watch the video, then then there's no problem. If you aren't 100% sure, you can
Abstain?
You could
abstain.
abstain.
I'm
It's
going
up
to
to you.
abstain. Because I did not do any of that.
Yeah, yeah. That's something that we haven't talked about explicitly, but I have found some places where it says that legally we should be doing that. We should be. Anybody?
Yeah, it's up to you. Discretion is to you.
Yep, yep.
I will be honest, I did not review the material, so I will
Whoa, honestly.
abstain.
Yep.
You didn't review it after it was approved?
Didn't
No,
approve.
I'm saying it's like, it wasn't needed
yeah,
at that point because it was a done issue.
Very true.
Right, right. So, would somebody like to make a motion to authorize?
I'll make a motion to authorize the finding of facts for
Excellent. Technically,
So authorize the chair
the chair to sign,
approve.
approve.
So the motion is to approve
Authorize.
finding of fact for blah, 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 and authorize the chair to sign whatever.
I'll make a
Someone.
motion to authorize the chair on the findings of fact for Bog Road Fields Athletic Complex Site Plan Amendment Tax Map 0090, Lot 0084A and 84X as amended, and also for the chair to sign the findings of fact.
Second?
so it's been moved by Gail, a second by David. Call for a vote then, if there's no questions. Crystal?
I abstain.
Abstain. David?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
So chair votes yes, so it's 4-0 with one abstention.
Beautiful.
So, and I didn't see any minutes in here, so
No, I didn't say anything.
you don't have
No,
to
there was some issue with the YouTube.
go through that
For the last
either.
meeting, so Patience has them now, I think, but there's just some delay.
In the works.
Yep.
So I think that's all.
Okay then, anything else? Dylan, we're good?
Yeah, just, we got a lot to do on, as far as it relates to the new zoning stuff and the new zoning laws. There's some workshops coming up, and we have to really knuckle down and get moving on those, so.
Make some decisions.
Yeah, as you might know, I think some of you know, I won't be in, well, never mind, I don't have to go. So, yeah,
You'll be missing some time, but
maybe.
Brendan will be back.
He will be back next week, yep.
Perfect.
Okay. Then we're adjourned.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.